Welcome, COD fans, to what we're calling the Call of Duty Mobile Roundtable. Spoiler alert, there's no table, and if there was one, it probably wouldn't be round. On my whole shift, with me, I've got the legendary, illustrious, and relatively handsome Bobby Plays. I've also got Hippo with me, and of course, the now Indian COD Mobile sensation, Tectonic. Gents, starting with Mr. Bobby Plays, how we feeling, my guy?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to get COD Mobile Esports action up and running. It's been a little bit of a dry spell, but there's a lot to talk about and a lot that's getting started up in the month of March, so it should be a lot of fun.
Should be a lot of fun. Gigabrain Hippo, legendary coach, all-star dresser. What are we feeling?
Yeah, no, I think, same sentiment as Bobby. Overall, I think we're just going to have an incredibly exciting season. There's so much to look forward to, and a lot of announcements that have been made about the changes that are going to happen in COD Mobile as a whole. So super excited to talk about all of this.
Tech, the one pro player here on the board. Bobby didn't qualify, so it's just you?
I mean, I didn't qualify either if we're talking about that, man.
Is that true?
Bobby made it further than me, bro.
Man,
I tried to get Tech. I actually talked to Tech when we were streaming together, and I said, if we make it to the next stage of the competition, like, how much do I have to pay you for you to join Bobby Bucket's Dino Nuggets? But unfortunately, we never reached that point.
It's a legendary team name, by the way. It's a legendary team name. Let's just kind of kick the conversation off because Season 6 obviously is all right on the forefront of our minds. We've got global action starting up. And with that, every year we always look at a brand new map pool. And I kind of want to start with that. Maps that are out, new maps that are in. Hippo, I kind of want to go to you first on this one. How do we feel about, let's just start with the Hardpoint map pool. How do we feel about Summit, Hacienda, Apocalypse, Arsenal, Slums?
Oh my, I think that there's a lot of, kind of old memories flooding back in. There's a lot of nostalgia in some of the previous seasons, such as, Slums coming back in. But we also see some mainstays that are, still sticking around, such as Summit and also Apocalypse from last season. So I think it's an incredibly interesting map pool, especially now that we have some iconic maps that are back in, while also having some maps that, have been notoriously known to be both strengths for certain Eastern teams and then strengths for Western teams in terms of performances across the board at major international events such as Masters and in the World Championship last year. So overall, I think it's a super exciting map pool. It seems to be very, very balanced in terms of just the size of the map pool as a whole. Pretty relatively stable across the board with a couple exceptions just here and there. So I think but I think there are the nuances of the map that every team is going to want to explore to see, what is going to be their strengths and weaknesses across the board. So it'll be super fun to see how the hardpoints pan out.
How about you guys? Bobby, Tech, Hardpoint map pool, what are we feeling?
You go ahead, Tech.
I hate Summit, man. I will die on this hill, bro. I'm an AR playing Summit. Why? Why is this in the map pool? Look, Summit has some of the worst spawns, in my opinion, until they came out with this new map pool. Because the Arsenal spawns and the Slum spawns, they have no consistency whatsoever. So I enjoy the maps, but I'm looking forward to the spawns points kind of getting reworked. But yeah, I removed Summit.
I know from what I've heard, obviously I play the game, but Arsenal Hardpoint is not in ranked, and we never really scrimmed it whenever we were getting ready for SPS. So Arsenal, it was just like a permaban for us because from what we had heard, the spawns were definitely still an issue there. So hopefully we do get a little bit of a rework before the main portion of the season comes up. But I enjoyed the rest of them. I wish we would have gotten to play Slums more because I feel like that's a really underrated hardpoint map. I know the spawns can get wonky at some points, but for the most part, that's one that I really enjoy the flow of. So overall, I like it. I'm glad that they added Hacienda back in as well. That's one that I think was definitely missing for last season, and is just such a good. Actually, was Hacienda in it last season?
It was.
It was? Okay. Maybe we just didn't get to see it quite as much, but Hacienda is definitely one that I guess maybe because I don't ever play it in rank, going back to that was definitely a lot of fun to play.
Fair. Search and Destroy is the interesting one, I think, this year for the map pool because Tunisia, staple, firing range, staple, standoff, staple. Kurohana returns, Coastal gets added, and I know that Coastal has been a staple of the Eastern Hemisphere and a lot of their events, but now we're going to see it globally. Any thoughts about Coastal being added into the map pool for the first time in the Western space?
You can wall bang.
I think
everything,
Coastal's
bro.
really good. Oh, go ahead, take.
You can just wall bang everything on that map, bro. It's unreal.
Fair enough.
It's a good map. I like it.
I like it as a map. I think the flow of it's good. I think it is very balanced on both sides, and never really felt like it was super one-sided on offense or defense. So I really like the flow of it. I wish we would have seen maybe a couple more changes, because I think it was only one map that really got changed for the search and destroy map pool, but I think Coastal was a good addition as far as what the possible options were.
Hippo?
I think with Coastal, it's definitely a good map. I think even though on the competitive side, we've seen a lot of Eastern teams get to play it, it has been in the ranked pool for quite a bit of time now for search and destroy. So I think that, players who have played S&D in ranked are going to be somewhat familiar to this. So I don't think we can necessarily count out the Western Hemisphere altogether in terms of familiarity. But at the very least, this does make it so that now the East has a map, at the very least in the early season, where they're going to have a distinct advantage over the West. But the overall design of the map, I agree, is fairly balanced. My personal take is that it's slightly leaning towards defense, but I think it is one of the more balanced maps overall, for sure.
I think, looking at the map pool, the one that I always kind of selfishly root for is Express to be involved.
Yeah.
It's an absolute classic. I know that there is some cheese that comes with it, but I love the map. So a little interesting to not see it be a part of the year this year. And then Control, Raid, Takeoff, we know those. Crossfire, just out of nowhere. What do we feel about Crossfire? Bobby, you got a smirk on your face as wide as Texas.
We very intentionally did not play Crossfire either, just because I haven't heard good things about it. I think it suffers from a lot of the problems that we had with last year's Control map additions. And really, I think the biggest thing that needs to be addressed with the addition of Control maps is the tweaking of spawns before they make their way into the competitive map pool. I think part of the reason that 2 years ago it worked as well as it did is because we did actually get some changes to the spawn points for Standoff and for Raid. Not as much for Crossroads, but still less spawn trap heavy than the addition of Seaside and Arsenal. And from what I've seen, it is a lot of the same issue with Crossfire as well. Crossfire just in general across the community is not like what I would consider a beloved map, because it's kind of toxic for the majority of game modes. So that's one that I anticipate we probably won't see a whole lot in the competitive season.
Hippo, thoughts from a strategic standpoint?
Yeah, I think that Crossfire is a map that has been notorious. I've seen the East actually play this at some point with regards to Control specifically, if I recall correctly. I know that the Chinese teams played it before, and I know at the same time that in the early seasons of CDM, if I recall correctly, like the very beginning. And, it was used in Search and Destroy, and there's a lot of nostalgia from back then. But as a Control map, it's just very awkward because of the fact that there are some very distinctly strong choke points that exist in the map that allow for some really, really disgusting spawn traps to happen. It's honestly worse than Seaside that's just my humble take when it comes to spawn trapping ability. Like, if you're just able to get a control of certain places in the map, then you're kind of golden. You're just taking out like 10 lives just independently from that. So
Tech, have you felt those things from the player perspective? Do you feel like there's just natural spots that just become almost impassable?
I'm gonna be honest. This map was in the map pool the 1 year I lost the regionals. So it's not looking good this year, But actually playing the map, I feel like this map for Control in particular is actually really good. The only thing that is bad, in my opinion, is obviously the spawns, because if everyone was to push A, someone just leaks through the deli side, they get in your spawn, you're gonna spawn in front of them no matter what. There's no split spawns that'll put you inside of a building or something for some sort of cover, no matter what. I feel like Control needs a rework for spawns in particular. But the map itself, I feel like it's pretty well balanced. You could understand where everyone's going. You have to use utilities and maximize it to the most in order to get to where you want to go. It's not something where you just brain dead run through and it's going to work.
That's totally
I think
fair.
I think at the very least with this map, like there's going to be a lot of complaints about the map because of the fact that people are getting spawn trapped all the time due to the design of the spawn itself. However, what I think is really good about this map, and the one upside that I personally like over Seaside and honestly over most of the maps in this pool, is that it really tests the fundamentals and basics on both on individual level in terms of a player, because there's so many spots that you have to constantly be checking, so many corners, so many places you can get sniped from, and so you have to be constantly looking for all of these, making sure that you use your utilities at the right points and at the right places, that you throw your smokes, etc., at the right spots. But then the second thing is, as a team, just having just the basic good macro of control, just being able to make sure that you cover your lanes, you don't get too heavily focused on one side, because if you do, then you can allow for a leak to happen that allows for these really bad spawn traps to happen. So
now, this is kind of an off-the-wall topic of conversation to follow up on this, but I think it's intriguing, so why not just throw it out there, see what you guys have to say. Over the last handful of years, I think we all have come to grips with having only 3 maps in control. There typically is always one that we love, there's always one that we typically hate, and it often kind of leads to conversations about the integrity of the game mode as a whole. Now, if we were to go back into the history of like competitive Call of Duty, capture the flag has always been kind of a massive staple of like old school CODs. How do you think a game mode like capture the flag would maybe do better, do worse, not maybe do anything different in terms of being a potential third competitive mode instead of control? Bobby?
I think the chaotic nature of COD Mobile would make it tougher for capture the flag, just because you have 5v5, you have operators, you have so many different types of utility. I feel like that would be a difficult one to add in. And then on top of that, there's not necessarily like another game mode outside capture the flag that there's a good point of comparison. So from the perspective of the casual fan base, that it would take a lot more time for them to understand as compared to control. It's basically like a combination of like Dom and TDM, that type of thing. From a competitive aspect, I don't think it would be unenjoyable to watch. I think it would just be a very big jump for both the players and the viewers to actually understand it well and understand it from a competitive standpoint.
Interesting. Follow-up thoughts? Agree, disagree, boys?
Techie, you have some thoughts first?
The more that I'm just like thinking about it, the more it's kind of just like, how would this work in a 5v5 environment? Because most of, CODs is 4v4. Just thinking of it, and also like how spawns have always been throughout like CODM so far. You're just gonna group spawn on whatever you're supposed to. So like you have to spawn by the flag. How is an enemy team, supposed to get the flag if all 5 are spawning on it anyways? It's like, how would that work? How would that be adjusted? And you could also, like, since it is 5v5, you put someone in the back of the spawn, you never have to worry about the flag. It's just like leave the other 4 to kind of handle the rest. It's like I don't feel like the whole team would be naturally involved into it like how a control is. So
the Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
week of the Snapdragon Pro Series for Call of Duty Mobile in North America. This is our third day, our third week of competition here for North America. That means from here on out, it is all about qualification. It's going to be a very exciting day of competition. I can't wait to see which of our teams are able to snag those coveted challenge finals spots. My name is Glitter Explosion, and I will be your host for today and throughout the rest of the challenge season. And of course, we have our casters as well, so we'll bring them on in here. Bobby is back. All right, at this point, we can't get rid of him, and we have Ton getting through all of our North American action. Bobby, welcome back yet again. Another week of NA. You excited for the upper brackets?
Yeah, no question about it. I feel very honored that I get to be here for upper finals because I did not realize this was the format that we were going with, but I'm more than excited for it. We got a couple of teams that I've been really excited to cast that I haven't gotten to in a while in Undream, so that's a team that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I think Brody's going to be jealous he's missing out on some of these matches here, Tom, because today's going to be really good.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have two big qualification games from both the groups, of course, for both teams who actually made it through the upper side of things. It should be a really interesting day.
Now, if you guys are just hopping on in here for the first time and you're realizing that we're already over halfway through the season and you want to go back and check out anything that's happened so far, you can do that on social media, whether that's X, Insta, or Facebook. Just make sure you're following us on there, and that way you can stay up to date with everything we've got going on here in the Snapdragon Pro Series. Or you can also join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series, where you can join our community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and of course, continue getting all of our updates, because things are only going to heat up from here. We've got weeks of qualification going straight into our challenge finals, what all of our teams are trying to make their way through to. So it's going to be very cool. But in order to get there, they had to go through our last week of competition here, Bobby, and it was a doozy.
Yeah, no question about it. Undream put on the show that pretty much anybody would have expected them to. I think a lot of people favoring them over just about anybody else in the North American region have been a top team, or at least comprised of a lot of top players for a long time. And you throw on top of that probably the only top team, I'd say tier 1 team that's really locked in on the competition. They're definitely going to put on a show, and Zit Lalix are definitely going to have to be on their A game to have a chance at this one.
Yeah, and Ton, like you were mentioning at the top of the show, the last couple weeks we've been watching individual matches for these brackets. Now we've got both brackets going here today, and everyone fighting for a spot.
Yeah, of course. We had Group A in week number 1, Group B last week, and now we have the combination of all the winners coming in with each other here this week. So that's going to make it really interesting. We have pretty much the cream of the crop from both groups going up against each other, which always makes for some good Call of Duty. But yeah, I'm super interested to see how it's going to go down. Me and Bobby were just having a quick chat about it before we did go live, and it was just like, I'm still not 100% sure exactly which way these games are going to go, which is always a nice position to be in.
Yeah, I think there are a couple teams here that definitely have some high expectations set on them, specifically NA Falloffs are a squad that we've been keeping our eyes on. But as we get a chance to take a look at these groups, here's a little bit of a refresher for everybody at home as well. In that first week, we got through those 2 upper bracket matches and then went down into the lower bracket. Nexus staying alive down there. Nexus will be waiting to see who wins and who loses today's upper bracket match between Undream and Zit Lalix, as Nexus will be facing off against whoever drops down for that second challenge final spot. But whoever wins today between Undream and Zit Lalix is qualified through. Same situation here for Group B. This time, though, we're focusing on Mythic and NA Falloffs up there in the top side of the bracket, and then ARP waiting in that lower bracket for whoever drops down for the last challenge final spot. So these last 2 weeks are all about pushing teams through to the challenge finals. If you're in the upper bracket like our teams are today, you still have a little bit of cushion, because that means if you don't end up taking the win home, you still have one more battle that you can fight. As you guys will see the schedule reflected there, we'll be doing that Group A side of things first between Undream and Zit Lalix, and then we will move on to Mythic and NA Falloffs, and that's all she wrote here for week 3 of the challenge season. So this is going to be really cool because we don't have to worry about sending anyone home today. It's just about sending people through to the next stage of the competition. So let's start talking about these matchups here a little bit. Obviously, we've mentioned them. You guys saw a couple highlights there as well from the previous weeks between these two squads. We've got Undream versus Zit Lalix here, Bobby. This a little bit up in the air here.
Yeah, no question about it. Zit Lalix definitely the dark horse in this competition, I would say, especially of the teams remaining. The fact that they have to go through Undream is going to make it that much more difficult. I was really surprised by how well Zit Lalix performed in those first week matchups. I think they caught a lot of players and a lot of teams off guard, but they, like we said, are going to have to really crank it up here heading into the competition. Shisui, Puedes, Zyrax, all part of that former TLE squad, and you got Fabuloso and Shisui, or rather Fabuloso and Titio, who have been mainstays, especially in the LATAM region for a long time. So Titio has been around arguably longer than pretty much anybody in North American competitive Call of Duty Mobile. Obviously, when Mexico was competing in the LATAM region, he went back and forth a little bit, but no question, he's one of the OGs of COD Mobile competitive.
I forgot that we're getting all of our headshots in here too for the second half of this. Everyone now getting to kind of put a face to the name at home if you are trying to become more familiar with some of these players. But Tom, on the flip side of things, we have Zit Lalix here hoping to really clinch that spot if they can.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with the sentiment from Bobby. They have impressed probably a little bit more than we maybe expected them to. They've looked really solid throughout. So I think they are going to be a relatively stiff competition here. But as Bobby mentioned, they are not the favorites heading into this matchup. But that is not something that has deterred them previously. So let's see how things are going to go for them. But yeah, interested to see how the game's going to go down.
Yeah, we talk about just how well our teams are able to utilize the time between competition days, as well as we get a little bit of a head-to-head here between our first two squads. Just overall numbers here for both of them so far in the competition, but also all of the strategizing that goes on outside of these hard statistics. Bobby, were these squads successful in going back, checking the VODs, kind of learning whatever limited information they could for figuring out map pools and gameplay, etc.? That all of that comes down, all boils into the same equation here when they're trying to figure out how to go up against each other.
Yeah, no question about it. Obviously, the main thing in the stats that sticks out is the KD differential with what, nearly a 2 KD average for Undream. Just absolutely absurd numbers out of those guys. So
not bad.
That's not something that's super surprising. Once again, going back to the amount of experience that they've got, but also the work that they've been putting in recent seasons. They are the favorites in this matchup for a reason, even though they might not be averaging quite as many kills. Part of that probably due to the fact that they're winning matches more quickly as well.
Yeah, chat. So let us know your thoughts as well as we continue to move through. We'll pull up our picks and bans, but we want to know who you think is going to be taking home this first of only 2 matches here on the day, and who will be qualifying through to the challenge finals as the first team in North America to do a ton, as we're starting things off with a Hacienda Hardpoint, a nice little classic series here for you.
Yeah, there's nothing too crazy going on here. But a Slums and Coastal finish, I suppose that, it's 2 of the newer maps that have come into the pool. So for some of these teams, it has been a case of just learning on the job. Of course, some of them will be well versed in them. But I mean, the first 3 are super comfortable for any of these 2 teams. I think if you're Undream, you will be happy with those as well. But the Hardpoint and the Search and Destroy coming map number 4 and 5 could throw something different in there. So yeah, we'll see. But nothing too out of the ordinary.
Well,
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, I feel like the best chance that Zit Lalix were going to have was to throw a curveball in there and try to force kind of an unexpected control map. And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do that as the raid does make its way in.
No, I think that's a really good point, too. So now everyone's going to be battling it out on some pretty comfy maps across the board here for COD M. So this is going to be a good series to see what happens here in our upper bracket. And our players are ready to go. So we're going to get straight into match number 1. Let's see who takes the first spot.
Oh, they're ready nice and early today, Bobby. This is a rare occasion, a rare treat. But we are really looking forward to this game. As you mentioned at the top of the show, we got our 2 upper bracket games today. So this is the best of the best from both of these 2 groups that we have. I mean, whittled down from so many competitors in open finals. We eventually have found ourselves here at the 2 best teams in both of their respective groups. And in Group B to kick, Group A, sorry, to kick things off is Undream taking on Zit Lalix. Look, we've talked about Undream, definitely the favorites for this one, but Zit Lalix, there's some potential there at least.
Yeah, no question about it, and that's one of the beauties of the format of the Snapdragon Pro Series, is you're always creating opportunities for up-and-coming talent to show out and show that they've got what it takes to take on the best of the best in any given region. So they're not going to be able to find any early presence onto the Hardpoint, as Undream will be able to lock things down for the time being, but trying to find some topside control hit marker. Beauty of a 3-piece for him right there. That'll give them a little bit of real estate to try to make their way forward through those opening smokes.
Yeah, I think you're looking at Hitmarker, Phaeton. Those have been the guys that have really been standing out to me from this Zit Lalix roster. But we haven't seen them properly tested yet, I want to say. You know, we have seen them go up against some decent opposition, but they've kind of just thrown them down to the wayside. Hitmarker again. Few kills falling his way. 25 seconds still to play for here over towards P1. P2 coming up very, very shortly. And we all know how much time you can potentially get over towards that hill. It's not a bad start for Zit Lalix whatsoever. It's the kind of start you want up against a team like Undream.
Yeah, no question about it. You can't really afford to have any shaky points in the game, and they've not really had that so far. Tio makes his way on in, the experienced veteran on the roster, making important plays, and Puedes pushing out, trying to see if they can lock in some spawns to get some early hardpoint time. P2, a crucial one right here, but he's not going to be able to find entrance into the hardpoint, and Mercy holds the line, at least initially. It looks like Fabuloso finds a couple as he hops water side, and the trades are going to be there for Undream, but Hitmarker gets the final say. That's going to be Zit Lalix finding the opening here on P2 as well. They do want to try to flip out those spawns if at all possible. Undream are going to be able to break in as a result, but doing a good job so far keeping things contested.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, Zit Lalix kind of had to turn around. One player did push around to try and get the car park spawn for the side of Undream. A couple of players just preoccupied. And all of a sudden, it's an easier retake for Undream than they maybe expected. 25 seconds to go here, over towards P2. Noisy and Co. starting to find the kills and starting to heat up. But there you go. Crow's going to bring in the War Machine, finds a couple. Zit Lalix with a potential break back. Isn't going to happen, though. Is it going to materialize? Not looking likely. Undream just about holding tight. 1v1 in the end is going to go down Crow's way, and that is then going to go back the other way. Undream just about holding on that scrap time. Zit Lalix very much fighting for that one, though, Bobby, and now the rotation over towards P3 gets a little easier because of that.
Yeah, a lot of late engagements, but not something that's super surprising to see in COD Mobile, just with that extra little bit of breathing room. The Pred is going to drop right there for Noisy to find some opening. But with that happening, 3, make it 4 come through for Zit Lalix. The Sparrow doesn't find a ton of value right there, but GTO makes his way onto the point, trades back and forth, pure chaos on the hard point. Tio pushing forward, but they just cannot seem to find full clearance, and Zit Lalix doing a really good job of hiding in that smokes, keeping things contested as long as possible. Undream finally find control of the hard point. We start to see some of those operators come out. Fabuloso, nice value off that War Machine.
Yeah, I suppose when you think about the operators that we have already seen, specifically from Zit Lalix, we've seen them coming over towards P2. Didn't get a great deal, but maybe kept Undream off it for a little bit, which, well, can be just as good as getting points yourself. But right there, you've seen Undream, well, not really converted, to be honest with you. Hitmarker surviving inside of the point. Noisy will find 2, yes, but for the final 10 seconds or so, Undream not really there. I think if we've had anything confirmed throughout the first 3 hills is that Zit Lalix are going to give us a game here. Undream, though, still with a, I wouldn't say it's a comfortable lead, but it's a decent one to start off one rotation of hills, and we're at the final hill of that rotation now. P4 coming up. Mercy calling in the Death Machine. Let's see if he can find anything with it as well. Can't find much more. Zit Lalix holding this down. Some big kills coming through, and some potentially big time as well.
Yep, Hitmarker's going to find clearance of the hard point with those equalizers and looks to make his way toward top main as well. Not really a whole lot to be found. One player wraps the corner, he doesn't even notice. That's Zyrax breaking on into the point, and once again, finding a full clear for Undream as they inch their way ahead in this one. Zit Lalix have done a really good job of keeping things close, contesting as much as possible, but Zyrax gonna turn. Machine Pistol connects right there, and Undream have held the line in a spectacular way so far here on P4. Very strong opening couple of hard points, and consistency across the board seems to have been one of the biggest differences over on Zit Lalix. You got Crow with 21, Hitmarker with 15, but Phaeton really struggling to get online in this one. Only 7 kills to his name so far.
Yeah, I wonder if I've just given him the kiss of death at the start of the series there, but I said he's one of the ones I was looking out for. Yeah, hasn't quite able to get things going yet, but all in all, not a bad rotation from Zit Lalix, but Undream with that advantage. And that kind of just comes from, I want to say that P2 really, wasn't it? That was the time where they managed to pick up the most amount. Over towards that hill, they found the break, and now they're finding some good time over towards P1 as well. Bit of an investment coming in from Zit Lalix, but that's for a bit of P1 time. Got to be careful where you invest this, but so far so good. That is working out for them. Kills are plenty. 30 seconds to go here over towards P1. Zit Lalix still in the tie.
I mean, he may not be having the best game, but Phaeton absolutely put the moves on right there to find a big kill on the top side, and get Zit Lalix some time here on P1. Once again, it's going to remain contested for the majority of the time. Everybody chucking down smokes, just trying to stay alive for as long as you can. And big rotation right here is P2. Usually a game changer when it comes to Hacienda. Hardpoint, Zyrax going to lose his equalizers right here. This could be the opening that Zit Lalix are looking for. They're going to force out driveway spawns for Undream. Only a couple players to be dealt with, but Tatio's got a claw in hand. He's able to find one, make it two, shut down Crow. War Machine is going to drop as well. And Undream find the opening right here, but not able to secure it. For the time being, Zit Lalix will be able to contest. Death Machine shut down from the hands of Noisy.
A little bit of a split spawn coming through, though. You've got one player from Zit Lalix spawning towards the bottom side of ramp. He's going to have to be dealt with pretty quickly. Is so. Now everybody else has to hold from the front. Mercy can find one with the Death Machine. Gets taken down by the War Machine, though. Fabuloso bringing that one in. Imarka is able to answer back. It's a bit of a 50-50 here over towards P2. Ultimately, though, it is Undream in the position you kind of want to be in when it comes down to these spawns and just about holding on. Fabuloso, great shots coming through. It's 4 for him. Predator missile in as well is going to make it at least 5. Sensational work from the side of Undream. They'll just about hold this one down.
It seems like it's been pretty 50-50 most of the way through.
Yeah, it's been a strange one, hasn't it? It's a case of, it felt like Undream were in complete control. Zit Lalix keeping it tight. That lead hasn't necessarily grown from the side of Undream by any stretch of the imagination. Over towards P3 now. Things starting to kick off. Undream getting wiped out here. Zit Lalix very much here to play. 2 operators in as well. This is going to make it even more difficult for Undream to get in. Zit Lalix with an opportunity to bring things back.
Yeah, big investment right here, trying to go big. Sparrow comes out, no value, and all of his teammates drop in the blink of an eye. So that investment certainly not seeming to be worthwhile for Zit Lalix, as they don't find a whole lot of conversion out of it. They get reinforcements on the point to find some hard point time right here. Tatio has some vision onto a couple of players. Shots just not going to connect for him. Crow now going to invest the War Machine, and he's moving with that thing. Don't usually consider it to be a movement operator, but he certainly made it look like one right there. Zit Lalix, if they can keep this hardpoint in control right here, would be nearly tied up as we head into P4. Looks like they will get the bulk of that time. Phaeton heading into the point, not going to find anything, but Crow has earned the pred. Even with the feed going fully blue right here, if he can drop that pred, get some information, could potentially set up a break for his team. Still a lot of players on the inside of the hard point. Undream holding things down for the time being, and we start to see some of the operators invested for them.
Yeah, this is a hard break now. As you mentioned, Zit Lalix potentially have something to try and find a break, and there's the claw coming in from Phaeton. Needs to really get something going here. He's going to be able to find one, finds a second. Fabuloso, though, going to bring in the War Machine, completely counters everything good Zit Lalix were trying to do. 34 seconds remaining. Puedes just holding down the garage, can only find one. Finds 2 with a nade as well. On top of that, over towards the hill, helps his team break on through. They know exactly where Zit Lalix are because of Puedes' previous positioning. Fantastic work. Undream just about holding on through the fire and the flames, quite literally. There's potentially a good break coming from Zit Lalix, but with 15 seconds to play for, Undream have held down the majority of the time and starting to bite the pedal down. Puedes, my goodness me, it's 6 in a row, and that's going to be another decent lead for the side of Undream as Puedes just keeps it on rolling.
Hardpoint lost.
I mean, across the last week of COD Mobile competition, we have seen some crazy Death Machine plays. That was definitely one of the better ones, with the spawns giving him a little bit of help there as well. That earns Undream a 30-point lead off of what was a tie game heading into P4. So now an opportunity for them to continue to grow things right here. Mercy doing what he can to find clearance onto the hard point. Looks like Undream still going to be able to reinforce. Puedes in the top side shuts down one, nearly 2, 1 HP. Zit Lalix gonna be able to stay alive there, but still not finding any entry onto the hard point.
Oh,
and Fabuloso continues to cook. Only 1 kill off of a pred right here, and that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Zit Lalix desperately needs something to go their way.
Yeah, it really feels like Undream just found another gear, and Zit Lalix are coping, stalling just a little bit. Pro starting to bring it in here for Zit Lalix because they kind of need to. It feels like that investment's been coming in over towards P1 quite often for them. It's been coming up around that time for them, and it's not necessarily converting to much. You see them just not find anything. That P2 rotation now starting to come in. Undream going to be the first ones there. They are also going to be 19 seconds away. Zit Lalix, a lot of work to do here, Bobby.
Yep. They got to get busy. Noisy trying to lock down those rock side spawns and doing it perfectly. Wins every single gunfight. And Undream have blown this one wide open. From a tie game to a 90-point lead, I don't think they've given up more than 10 seconds of hardpoint time since that P3. Absolute dominance here to close this one out. And they go big to finish things out and show why they are favored to win this competition.
Yeah, I think that this is a strange hardpoint, really, isn't it? Because as we kind of mentioned, it was, what, 30, 40 points at most for the side of Undream throughout the majority, even heading into the second rotation. And throughout the second rotation, that's kind of where it stayed. But then all of a sudden, they just put their foot down. It was a really, really close game up until it very much wasn't. But I mean, we say time and time again, when we talk about these top tier teams and what the difference is between, I mean, even guys at home who are sitting playing or other guys who are in the league, to a certain degree, always feels like that operator usage and how efficient you can be with it really does make a difference. We've seen Zit Lalix bringing out War Machines. They were bringing out Sparrows for P1, finding a couple of kills and not getting a great load of time off it because it's P1 on Hacienda. It's not the easiest thing to do. Then you got Fabuloso and Puertes bringing it out at this kind of stage with this 20 seconds still to play for over towards P4 and getting a clean feed. Real difference makers coming through for the side of Undream is the difference maker there. Sensational work. It's about a 100-point game by the time things are all said and done, and they find themselves in the lead here in this series.
Yeah, you don't want to put the game on one specific player, but when you've got somebody going 13 and 50 with 29 seconds in the hard point, didn't even get an impact score for that game, and to a degree it's kind of like you're playing 4v5, but it's almost like you're playing 4v6 when you got that many kills being fed to the opposition. Phaeton definitely going to need to get online for Zit Lalix if they're going to have a shot heading here in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, I'll take partial blame for that one after trying to gas him up at the beginning of the series there. But never mind. Phaeton, you do have the Search and Destroy coming up to maybe try and turn things around here. But it needs to be turned around pretty quickly because that... Yeah, right. Look, we don't like to pick on players when they do have a bad game too much, but then that's one of those scenarios where you're like, right, okay, you're 13 and 50. That's what, minus 37 KD. We need to see a little more than that. Sometimes it doesn't make too much of a difference, but obviously it would have in that one, and that's going to be Undream finding themselves 1-0 up in this series. But I think, if I was to be a caveat here for the side of Zit Lalix, they did keep it close until things started kind of spiraling a little bit. I don't want to say they lost control. It just felt like Undream found another level, but then Zit Lalix, the worry has to be for them is if Undream find that level again, if they find another, this game could be over pretty quickly.
Yeah, no question about it. I think on the Search and Destroy, you want to keep things close as possible early on. Obviously, we do tend to see these teams be a little bit stronger on the defensive side. If you do get offense to open things up, don't get too much in your head if you see the score separate a little bit early on, just because you have that opportunity to flip things around, but at the same time, you don't want to allow too much of a lead to build. So we'll see what we've got here in the Search and Destroy, and it is going to be Zit Lalix on the defense to get things started. We'll see what they can make of this situation and see if Phaeton can have a bounce back game right here.
I think as well, Bobby, like when it has come down to Tunisia as well, though, we're definitely seeing more attacking rounds these days. At least it feels that way compared to what it was like when I first started casting over Tunisia Search and Destroy. Well, it was 6 rounds defense, 6 round defense on occasion. Here we go. Undream having a little bit of a look over towards this B side. Zit Lalix trying to defend, doing so well so far. Messi and him are going to find a couple. Attila will find a breakthrough, though. A little bit of presence here for the side of Undream, but everybody else is on their way over. Fabuloso's on that big flank, though. He's trying to play the island player. Needs to find this kill, though, to be useful. Does not. And all of a sudden, his team are left in a 2 versus 3.
Seemed like it was a pretty doable situation, but comes up short right there. Feeling aggressive, trying to get the bomb down, but Tio actually pushes up the stairs and finds 2. So now all the pressure onto Phaeton. Looking to have a bounce back and wasn't able to catch that one player off guard. So he's going to hit a wrap back towards spawn. It looks like may find the engagement. He's actually going to wrap to the mid side right here. Timing might go his way, but it absolutely does. Now the opportunity to Tio remains.
Phaeton giving his position away a little bit there. The shots through the window. But if you're Tatio, I mean, you've done this so many times. You know exactly where he's going to be pushing from. USS9 in this position just doesn't lose these gunfights. And that's 4 in the round from Tatio. And that is a big difference maker. Those two pushing up the stairs at B, I just don't think Zit Lalix were ready for it. Tatilo finds 4 in the round. Undream, one to the good on the attacking side.
Big time plays from him. Not the first time we've seen that. Undream off to a good start right here. Zit Lalix, maybe, I wouldn't say a big flop on the execution right there. Maybe a couple opportunities where they could have found more value, but wouldn't say really any major misplays. More Undream making the big plays on their side. Fabuloso looking for the opening here on the A side. 3 players here to defend. He gets the angle, but is not able to connect on what looked to be a pretty wide open shot right there. So now the util going to go out, looking to find more information. Saw 1 player wrapping back. Still a bit of a stalemate right here. Crow should be able to find the kill, but Tatio just walks onto the bomb site.
Walks in the bomb site and finds himself eventually dead. Fabuloso can answer back with another just to compound Phaeton's misery at this stage. 4 versus 4. I'm in a bit of an awkward spot here for Undream. You can see they've got a lot of presence over towards B, but they have no onus to be able to make this push forward. Hitmarker's going to move at the right time, and then eventually will get taken down. 2 players over towards this B side. I mean, yeah, that's great, but the bomb's on the other side of the map, unfortunately, lads.
Mercy gets caught with his pants down right there, so he's going to drop and leave his teammate now in a 1v2. Crow eyeing things out right here. Knows where the bomb is. Playing, to be honest, awfully close to it, given the position that he's in. And I think that he's going to get red pretty easily, but it doesn't matter as he clutches up in the 1v2. Nobody for Undreamed takes a bullet on him. And he goes big to allow Zit Lalix to take the round. I thought for sure he was going to just get shot in the side, but turns at the perfect time and finds the round for Zit Lalix to tie things up right here. Pretty split push for Undream. It's like a little 3-2 with a couple players over toward the B side. Pretty far forward positioning for Mercy right here is he's likely going to be first point of contact off of any push. Undream likely just playing for some picks to open things up.
Yeah, Crow kind of just hiding in plain sight there, wasn't he? In the middle of the bomb site. Gets away with it. And finds the 1 versus 2. Pixels away from each other here at times. Hitmarker trying to find something. Hasn't been able to do a great deal yet. Fabuloso trying to look for an angle as well. Right now, Zit Lalix ain't offering a goddamn thing. This is kind of been the thing, though, for Undream. They've had some potential in attack. They managed to actually break some bomb sites on occasion here. And yet they just didn't have the bomb previously in the last round, at least, anyway. But getting into sites hasn't necessarily been a massive issue. It's been capitalizing on it, at least in the previous round, anyway. Let's see what they can do here. Looks like it potentially is going to be an A through mid. You're back down here. If you Zit Lalix just a little bit, but the time is starting to run out. 35 seconds to go. Undream need to make a decision.
Zit Lalix doing a good job of using that util to zone things out and slow down the push from Undream, trying not to give up any unnecessary lives. And GVO should have an angle here to find a kill. Finds 1 before getting traded out. That was all they really needed out of him. Crow finds 1. Another looked like it could have gone their way, but Puedes goes big. Phaeton finds another. All down to Noisy in the 1v2 right here. He's going to get shut down, and back-to-back rounds go the way of Zit Lalix. They are, I've been pleasantly surprised by how strong their execution has been to open this one up.
Destroy the objective.
Good job. A really good job. I think Undream kind of played into their hands a little bit there. Just in respect to Zit Lalix, they didn't make any mistakes. And Undream, well, didn't really make any moves. They're going to this time, though. Fabuloso will get the better of them. Just about to kick things off. Now Hitmarker has a lot of defensive work to do. Could probably do with just getting out if he can, but Mercy's made an immediate flank through the mid-map. His bomb is going down over towards B, so Zit Lalix will have to retake in a 4 versus 5 situation. Bomb is down. 45 seconds to do something about this. It's going to be all about this backside. You can see 3 players pushing through the spawn. Zyrax going to be first point of contact. He's going to see them. He's going to call out Noisy. Noisy is going to fly around the corner. Finds two himself. Zyrax will find another. That should be the round, barring a miracle round from Mercy.
Yeah, Hitmarker had absolutely no idea he was up there. They flood through it once on the bottom side, and Undream take the round to tie things up 2-2 right here. Once again, maybe more on the execution from Undream than anything else right there, with Noisy tucked away in a perfect position to do the damage to get, what, 3 kills right there. So now they start to get a little bit more aggressive toward the B side. We've seen a couple of those pick play rounds, but this time they're going to invest some utility and see what they can find. Hitmarker going to be forced back right here. He's the only one here defending on the B site. He's going to get taken down by Puedes. And great execution by Undream to find clearance on the bomb site. That bomb will go down immediately.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago, that round where they just didn't make any moves. They've been making them all in the past 2. Noisy now going to try and lock this down if he can. Mercy can find one, though, to, well, maybe make this interesting. Zyrax can find one, Vines 2, and all of a sudden, Zyrax just starting to line them up. The KRM is out, and as are the rest of Zit Lalix. Puedes with the final kill, and Undream just starting to step it up a level. It feels like the Hardpoint all over again. It's close until it's not. Undream, yes, okay, they may only be 3-2 up, but that is 2 rounds in quick succession. After Zit Lalix with a decent start, these are nice attacking rounds from Undream.
Grenade out.
Definitely not a conventional map to see the KRM coming out on, but we've seen more and more shotguns in COD Mobile Competitive as of recently, especially in the Search and Destroy with in the China region. The HS0405 coming out a lot. Interested to see if we'll see any of that today, but it's Undream once again flooding the site right here, getting a quick plant down. Great execution on the entry. And Zit Lalix left reeling right here. We'll see if they got any util left to try to find an opening, but nothing happening off the early approach from them. Fabuloso going to get hit markered, but he dips away, and now Zit Lalix going to be forced to take a risk right here. Fabuloso makes them pay, but Phaeton and Mercy find a couple. 1v2 right here is not meant to be for Phaeton as Undream now extend that lead.
Feels like Undream are just using their raw horsepower to get onto sites, and it works out in their favor on the attacking rounds. 4-2. They are up now and moving over towards the more preferred defensive side. This really does give them a massive advantage now. Zit Lalix need to, well, pull something out of the fire here, because right now you're in a difficult position. You want to 0 down in the series. You are 2 rounds behind heading onto your attacking side. On Tunisia, Noisy now starting to cause issues. Zyrax is there to pick up the pieces. Noisy will find another, and that is the round done just like that. It's a 4K for Noisy, and it's a 5-2 lead for Undream.
A lot of unconventional guns coming out and doing crazy damage for this Undream squad. You got the KRM with the 3-piece, instantly followed up by 4 from the MG42. Undream just throwing anything they can at it, and definitely a nice gun to have on Tunisia on the defensive side, just because you can wallbang pretty much every single wall on this map. To Tio, gonna find 2 with the USS right there, and just like that, the push has been led to a complete halt. Puedes gonna shut down another, and now Zit Lalix left in a 2v5, making a 2v4 right here, and Hitmarker's gonna find a couple. They find 3, and just like that, they find the advantage. Hitmarker gets a kill with the concussion, and we're into a 1v1.
Into a 1v1, and Hitmarker is on for the ace. Fabuloso now just trying to play this one patient. After what was, I believe, a 2 versus 5 scenario. Hitmarker's brought it back to a 1 versus 1 for Zit Lalix. Fabuloso is going to get the timing on him. He just dips away. That Odin is firing absolute missiles out of it by the looks of things. Nade over the top is, I don't think, gonna land. Did it get a hit? No, it did not. Hunter killer in the air as well. That's a disaster now. Fabuloso needs to get rid of it, ideally. It's going to be time for Hitmarker just to back on down here. Re-wrapping through the middle of the map. Fabuloso will not have a read on this whatsoever. He's going to be checking the corners. And he's just not going to expect Hitmarker here. This has been a wonderful round for Zit Lalix to get things up and running again, because they have been lacking over the last few rounds. But it's going to be At worst, an ace coming in from Hitmarker. There's just no way that he's got time to get this defused. An ace for Hitmarker. Zit Lalix back into this one.
Wow. A 2v5 into an ace. And that could not have been any better timed, as it felt like the bleeding was continuing to grow and grow for Zit Lalix. They finally find a way to reel one back in, but you got to have more consistent execution on the offensive side. Can't really bank on those aces every single round. We'll see what they're bringing to the table on this one. Very unorthodox approach from the lower side of B, but they're going to be able to find two. Fabuloso makes them pay, though. Couple of quick scopes connect, and just like that, Undream back with the man advantage, this time a 2v4. And it's going to take another miracle out of Zit Lalix. Have a chance in this one. Zyrax going to shut down one, Poides the other. And now Undream 1 round away from going up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, you're right. Look, you can put Zit Lalix in those situations. If they can pull them off, fantastic. But if you're in those situations, something ain't going right. And well, the scoreline kind of does tell that story right now. 6-3 lead for Undream. They are 1 round away from going 2-0 up in the series. As you point out, Bobby, this is not an ideal scenario for Zit Lalix whatsoever. Good shots on the Noisy, though. The kill will come through for Zit Lalix, so now they have numbers over towards this B side. Fabuloso did some sensational work in that previous round, and is going to have to do it again if he wants to hold down this B side.
He's really banking on that bush, doing a lot of work for him. See what he can make of this situation. 3 players ready to find the push. Noisy just incredibly out of position right there, and they're able to make him pay. So a bit of a waiting game right here. Hitmarker just waiting for any overextension on that flank, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Undream very happy to stay home and force this opening engagement. We'll see what Fabuloso can do as clock continues to tick, and now some of that util going to go out. Don't know if there's really any angle to find info onto that bush side. And we'll see what Zit Lalix find right here as they finally make entry.
There's no way they're going to let Fabuloso get away with this, surely. Nah, there's no shot. Not at this level. At worst, somebody's sticking at least a bullet in there just to check it. It's all going to get caught on the re-wrap around through mid-map, and now all of a sudden Poides is left on his own, and that is a wonderful shot from Hitmarker. He has been the standout for Zit Lalix, but right now, they are starting to bring it back into contention. 6-4. You still need 2 rounds in a row here on the attacking side on Tunisia. There have to be 3 in a row in the end to just even send us to overtime. Undream would love to secure this one sooner rather than later. Oh, Zyrax. That's going to make a huge difference, right? Finding 2 in the middle of the map, forcing a 3rd away. That's a wonderful way to start your defensive round all of a sudden. A 3 versus 5 in your favor on defense for Undream to take them out.
Yeah, for the most part, they've done a really good job of finding those first bloods, and for the most part, going untraded as well. So Zit Lalix desperately needs something right here. Phaeton's going to be able to find one. 3v4, and Crow's going to catch one off guard, so still not completely unmanageable. 2v3, and Hitmarker's alive. With the way he's been playing, he might need to change his name to Headshot. See if he can make anything out of the situation. Fabuloso looking to check with a nade, but nobody anywhere close to be found. And pressure on right here. Peeking across the opening with your pistol onto a pretty common sniper angle. Just not really, I don't really know what to make of that approach. Obviously, it's a tough situation for Zit Lalix, but definitely didn't feel like a highly advised entry into that bomb site.
To be honest, I was going to semi-question Undream. Actually, they find their opening picks, and then they all started pushing forward. I know they ultimately win the round, so that's all that matters. Just try to take a little bit more real estate in there. In the end, it kind of works out because, well, they put themselves in those positions where apparently Zit Lalix weren't expecting. And in the end, that is the round. Wonderful play from Zyrax there. And I mean, it was an S&D full of highlights. Hitmarker's ace will probably be that top one, and yet it's probably the only thing that Zit Lalix will have to write home about. It's a 7-4 victory for the side of Undream, and they are in a commanding position here in this series now. Sensational work once again. Okay, Zit Lalix did kind of get some things going. As mentioned, Hitmarker with the ace. Good job he managed that, because he wasn't necessarily having the best of games otherwise. But Crow there as well, 12 and 9. But you look over on the other side, everybody pulling their weight for Undream. Sensational search and destroy from them. And the damage was probably done on those attacking sides, but we going in with a 4-2 lead over onto the defensive side. Always a nice position to be in.
Yeah, no question about it, and that's what you expect from these players on Undream. Everybody able to pull their weight. Puedes with a 2KD right there. I'm still curious what Fabuloso was going for on that bush play, because it's not just that he was hiding in the bush, but he was looking at the wall. Like there's gotta be some strategy hiding, like shoulder tags or something else. I don't really know what he was going for right there, but I'm going to figure it out. We're getting ready to head into the control. Undream, as expected, in the driver's seat and heading into a map that they probably have hundreds, if not thousands of reps on. So they've got to feel pretty confident heading into this one.
Yeah, they'll be feeling super confident, especially, you know, as you mentioned, on a raid. It's a very classic control map. We know that these guys will know exactly what they're doing here. But Undream, they've kind of showed us what we really did expect in this one. Zit Lalix of threatened on occasion, I want to say, Bobby, but that's probably about it. Undream have very much been in cruise control. As soon as they decide to find that extra gear, it's easy enough for them at this stage.
Yeah, no question about it. And despite the fact that it's not looking great in the series, Zit Lalix have definitely shown a lot of bright spots in their game. And especially with the way they're playing right now, like even if they can't find a way to take the series, I would not be surprised at all if they do find a way into challenge finals. They've got an opportunity here. It's going to see if they can turn things around in the control. Typically is the swing mode, so an opportunity for them to make some noise and try to catch this Undream squad off guard, but they've looked so consistent across the board. It's going to be tough to poke any real holes in their game plan so far.
Well, let's see. This is going to be the control that you can potentially find something on. I mean, there's always something with control, isn't there? As you said, it can be the swing mode, but you find one nice break, it can turn a control game on its head. Zit Lalix immediately trying to find a push over towards this A side and getting some progress with it as well. Might as well find an opening kill though. Tatilla now will find a push around as well. A lot of control over towards the bedroom though for the side of Zit Lalix. That will give the cover. And A may well be gone, but Puedes can find another. And we'll shut this one down imminently, but still pressure here from Zit Lalix. Not a bad start from them whatsoever. A second tick over towards A and may be on its way.
Definitely a more passive setup for an A side, but I like the way that they executed it right there, letting the snipers control the longer angles instead of taking basketball in a more risky situation. Unfortunately, Puedes is going to be the man to be dealt with, and they do not have a response. He's going to be able to find 3. We do see the SKS come out, obviously recently unbanned from the weapon restrictions. That's something that, especially in the LATAM region, was a favorite for a long time prior to its restriction. So they're going to be able to do some damage with it right there. Undream taking that life lead, and they did manage to stop Zit Lalix from locking down not only the A zone, but that second tick of progression as well. Zyrax continues tucked away in that corner. He's now on a 7 spree, and he's going to be able to earn the pred right there as Undream continue to force their way forward. And now time, the biggest issue against this Zit Lalix squad.
I think for me, when you've seen that initial push over towards A and not work out for Zit Lalix to get wiped, they sent another 4 players in that direction. They all get wiped as well. Undream were there in numbers and they still try to force it. And could that be their downfall now? But as we'll find another in this round, it's pretty much been sniper only from him. Found 6. Tatilla with 1, answer back to Crow, but the lives are just not enough. Yeah, okay, they've lost 8. And that time has now been extended. Phaeton will find 2 though. Has to be pretty much perfect from the side of Zit Lalix. And well, they were keeping it up momentarily. Fabuloso though will find 2. It's a 3 versus 14.
Yeah, just plenty of time, but no lives right here. 10 life differential between the two. Undream can afford to sit back and let Zit Lalix come to them. Now they got to force the issue over on that B zone, and they're not going to be able to make it happen. So Undream take the opening round. We get ready to flip sides, and they'll see what they can do on the offense. 3 operators charged and ready to go. Would not be surprised to see an early investment for them right here. And we do see that shotgun coming out once again for Zyrex. Probably going to try to get Mixie in the mid-map if I had to guess. But Crow pulls a War Machine early, and he's going to be able to find at least 2 to stop that opening push.
And this is the time to use it, right? You know exactly where they're going to be pushing from, or have a good idea. And now all of a sudden, if you're Zit Lalix, you may be, well, welcoming yourself to the blender. Noisy, you need to find some kills to get your team out here. Oh, sorry for the other side. You need to get rid of Noisy, I should say. Was in a position to cause some damage. Have to be careful here. If you're Undream, sorry. Puedes. Good shots coming through. Good start from Zit Lalix here in this round. Trying to keep them at bay, but Undream need one decent push over towards this B side. They'll look to extend the time to make their way over towards A, but good start from Zit Lalix.
Puedes gonna pop that death machine. We saw big plays from him in the Hacienda. 2 players over here on the A side. Doesn't really have any info to work with right now. Just kind of guessing at spots. His team going to be able to make their way onto the B zone. It looks like 2 ticks of progress are going to be locked in. I don't think Zit Lalix are going to try to stop this cap at all. They seem very comfortable holding the A side, and that does mean the death machine, for the most part, gone to waste. Don't hate the play out of them, baiting some of that operator utility out. Puedes needs to find one onto Crow right here for the opening to flood through that spawn, and he finds exactly that. Fred's gonna drop. They get the info as well.
Puedes is really running this one. Annihilator's out from Totilla, who hasn't necessarily had the best of starts, but all of a sudden Undream are up in lives from nothing. And you can see them, it's a line across the map here, and they're just starting to farm them. They're just playing TDM right now, and it's working out for them. 11 versus 8 this round is going by in the blink of an eye. Zit Lalix spawning directly in front of Undream, who are just lining them up one by one. This is an absolute slaughter in the spawn. And Undream just pulled the trigger again. It's a close game till it's not. And Undream just make mincemeat of Zit Lalix in the end. It's now going to have to be a 1 versus 8 from Mercy. He will fall. Undream, comfortable one in the end after a little bit of a scary start.
Zit Lalix looked strong off the start, but I think once they lost the mid-map control, and especially losing Kitchen, they very quickly found themselves backed up against the wall and just didn't really seem to have a response. So now heading into the round, the operator count's pretty equal. Phaeton's going to pop his Annihilator. Fabuloso on the flip side, popping a War Machine, and Zyrex going to be able to find one to open things up. Doing his best to get this B zone cleared, and it looks like the Pred gonna drop from Fabuloso. He gets info, but no kills to be found. Potentially a trophy right there. So Zit Lalix, for the most part, able to avoid something absolutely terrible. Biggest thing for them, they've got to find some presence on these objectives to stop that clock, and so far they've really struggled to do so. Fabuloso, great cutoff kills right there, and only 1 player pushed forward on that B side.
I can't wait to see Puedes' kill to death at the end of this one. Guy's been running the show. Sniper in hand here on control. Fabuloso won't be too far behind. SKS not helping him out this time. Noisy gonna have to try and hold things down. We'll back out. Push over towards B is being tempted by 1 player. Noisy will deal with that. And now Zit Lalix. Oh, well, we're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Noisy trying to make the push there with the Purifier. Not gonna happen. Now the aggression's gonna come out from Zyrex. He will get cut down as well. So Zit Lalix trying to make a fight to this, but they're still stuck in their spawn with only 20 seconds to go, Bobby. This will take a minor miracle.
And once again, the clock becomes more and more of an issue. Obviously, you don't want to lose those lives, but if the game ends by time, then you're not going to have much hope anyway. Mercy finally makes his way onto the objective. Not going to live for very long. Puedes, Death Machine, cuts down every member on the way for Zit Lalix. Hit marker, maybe the last hope with those equalizers in hand, but takes him a little bit too long to find a kill. Nobody on the objective. 11v2, and Undream make it a clean sweep in the map and in the series. They take the 3-0, and they are heading to your challenge finals.
Yeah, they did just find that extra gear, didn't they? It was the same all the way through. There was close moments, but ultimately the class did shine through. Undream, sensational work against a very punchy Zit Lalix roster, especially map number 1. It was close. It was, well, pretty much dead even at one stage at 150-150, and they still won by 90. Search and destroy. A couple of close rounds, found themselves behind after 3. turned it on from there and did not allow more than 2 rounds to go over towards Zit Lalix. It just feels as if it's close until Zit Lalix, until Undream leaned forward. And well, there was a lot of leaning forward on that map number 3. That was dominant. The side of UD, outside of a little bit of a scary round number 2 to kick things up, but Undream comfortably through to challenge finals. They'll be one of the teams to beat, and understandably so after that performance. A 23-8 from Puertes, pretty much sniper only throughout the majority of that as well. Really impressive performance from him. But back to the drawing board for Zit Lalix. Undream advanced to challenge finals.
Yeah, you were talking about his dominance through that one, and absolutely no surprise, he dropped to 3 KD in the final map.
I mean, clearly Undream came to play today. They knew what the stakes were, and they didn't want to have to go through yet another series in order to clinch that spot. A solid 3-0 out of Undream, and a very deserving spot has now been taken by that squad. So they are one of the first out of all 4 that we'll be seeing in our challenge final. So congratulations to Undream. But for everybody at home, if you're just joining, don't worry. That does not mean that Zit Lalix are out of it yet. It just means they dropped down. We mentioned this before we got into the first match of the day. Zit Lalix will now have to wait to face off against Nexus next week to fight for one of those last 2 spots in the challenge finals. So that'll be a fun matchup down there in that lower bracket. Nexus able to take out Rebels last time around and stay alive, hold on to their chance. So both of these teams will be in for a bit of a battle, but we're not done here today. Okay, that's 1 spot, 1 group of that upper bracket. We'd have to go over to Group B and see their upper bracket. And you might recognize some folks from Group B because we also have on Mythic, but we also have NA Falloffs. So this should be a really fun matchup here today. They're a team that we've always talked about. NA Falloffs been talking about from the beginning of this challenge season. Now it's time for them to put up or shut up here, Bobby.
Yeah, no question. It's going to be interesting to see how much work they put in. From what I've seen, they've been pretty locked in for the last couple of weeks. So they're a team that can make some noise and absolutely are capable of winning this entire thing. I think we're definitely going to see probably their biggest test so far going up against an on-Mythic squad that surprised a lot of people. And I think absolutely also has what it takes to win the whole thing. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, hopefully all of you at home are prepared for this, because this should be a really fun way to close out the day. Because believe it or not, it's only 2 matches, which means we're halfway through. And before we get into match number 2 of the day, we're going to send it to a short break so our players can get prepared and ready to dive into it. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
I hold shift with YouTube recorder and content creator extraordinaire Bobby Plays. We're going to be playing a game called the Blind Player Ranking. We've got 5 players on a list. We'll give them to you one by one, and you have to place them without knowing who comes next at 1 to 5. 1 being, of course, the best, 5 being, of course, the worst. You up for it?
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Let's start you off with player number 1. It's Lucazin.
Oh, gosh. Do I get to know, like, is this all NAU LATAM?
It's all Western players.
All
yeah,
Western.
NAU
Okay.
LATAM players.
I mean,
yeah.
I have to put him in number 1. Like, no offense to everybody else, I got to put him in number 1.
Totally fair.
He's the best in the West. That's who he is.
He's the best in the West. That's totally valid. Player number 2 is Envy.
So Envy's good, but I don't know how much he's been playing COD Mobile, because NA's been a little bit all over the place. I think I'll probably put him at 4. I know, like, raw talent wise, he's probably, if I was going to do it, closer to 2, and if it was closer to the end of the year, I might switch it, but I think I got to go 4.
Got to go 4. Okay, you got Luca in the 1, you've got Envy in the 4. Where would you put Mr. Bobby Plays?
5, easily. Now I feel like I ranked Envy way too low. Now the gap between me and Envy is way too big. Oh, I regret doing this now. I've made a mistake.
All right, fair enough. A little bit of self-deprecation never hurt anybody. Player number 4, out of EU, it's Shark.
Okay, I don't hate that. I know Shark's been in the game. I think he was comparable to Envy. I would probably put him at 3.
Okay.
It's tough because now we have one player from each of the regions and then me. So I feel like the last one's going to be a wild card. And wait, can I change my ranking?
No, you're locked. You're locked in.
All right.
You can put Shark.
No, I was gonna put Shark at 2, just after thinking about it. Yeah.
That works. Okay, so Shark in the 2, Luca in the 1, Envy in the 4, Bobby in the 5, which means that you're sitting with your final player in the 3 spot, and that player is Mihawk.
Okay. I don't hate that.
Yeah?
I probably would have put him above Shark, so I was expecting a big curveball and it was gonna be like Little B or something, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
All right, happy with the list overall then?
Yeah, relatively. I think I could have done worse. I definitely did not expect myself to be in there, and that was the biggest curveball for me.
Well, I can tell you, probably to no surprise, you have been put in the 5 just by about everybody. So, we got some work to do there.
Yeah, I know. Bobby Buckets, Dino Nuggets, 2025 champs. Keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out coming to a store near you. That's Bobby Plays, and that, of course, is our blind player ranking. I hold shift here with another iteration of Pro Tips, this time featuring one of the best AR players in the world, Tectonic. You like that gas? Premium diesel?
Pretty premium, got me cheesing, you know what I'm saying?
Love that. I love a good smile out of you. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to kind of run through a couple of things that, people that are trying to get into ranked or trying to get into competitiveness may be able to mimic and try to copy. So kind of first and foremost, are you on the 5-finger wave that everyone seems to be on right now?
I am on the 5-finger wave. I got adjusted to it last year.
Okay. And did you have to make any modifications at all to your buttons, to your HUD to set yourself up for it?
Yeah, for the most part, because I used to just be like tap to hold with like 4 fingers, but then I went to like tap to ADS. Or no, I was tap to ADS first and then went to tap to hold, which is a little bit different because you go from 4 fingers and you're just clicking everything to like 5 fingers, you're holding this button, then clicking. You got to release it at the same time. It took like, and the worst part, man, is that the same time I decided to go 5-finger, I decided to switch my sensitivity from speed to fix. So it took me like 2 months just to get it used to everything and get it like situated perfectly.
Okay, well, it's a perfect follow-up because there is a question about acceleration. So are you playing it with on or off right now?
I'm playing with fixed, so no speed acceleration.
Okay, and then what's your sensitivity numbers that you have for that?
I think I have my fixed at like 180 and then like my regular sense at like 80 to 75 for like the firing and turning sense.
What FOV do you have that on? Because I know that's super important as well when it comes to relativity.
65 for the regular and then 50 for the first person.
What is your normal warm-up routine before you get into a rank session or before you get into scrims or obviously most importantly when you start to get ready for a competitive match?
I think some people are gonna hate me for this, and I know some people are going to understand that, like people who have teamed with me, I don't really warm up. I don't really practice anything. It kind of just like you get on and you play. This is kind of like something I've followed through since Critical Ops days. It's like if you have the muscle memory and the knowledge and everything, like don't overcomplicate it. I mean, obviously, like sometimes you'll play with your friends or your teammates here and there, but like if I'm gonna go play scrims and all that, it's like I'll jump in and jump out. It's like I'm not gonna do all the extra stuff.
Let's just jump into this final question then. If you were to give your favorite loadout if you're jumping to ranked right now, what are you rocking in ranked?
The most broken gun in the game currently, the USS-9.
Period.
I'm a flex player.
Story. Yeah.
So it's like I use my AR and my SMGs at the same time. It's like, but why would I not use an SMG that's 2-tapping people across the map? It's just, why wouldn't I do that? It's the most broken thing in the game right now.
Well, that's Pro Tips with Tectonic. Copy it. Maybe not the lack of warm-up routine, but maybe the rest of it. Thanks, Tec.
Don't do
Appreciate
that.
it.
Yes.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where we are about to head into our second and final match of the day here in Week 3 for Call of Duty Mobile in North America. and we've already qualified one team through to our challenge finals. If you're just joining us, congratulations to Undream for being that first squad. And now it's time for us to look at Group B and the competition between On Mythic and NA Falloffs. Both of these squads competing for the second spot in our challenge finals, and whoever loses will knock down into that lower bracket, still in the competition to eventually face off against ARP. But let's start talking about this squad here, specifically what we've seen out of On Mythic here, Tongue, to kick things off.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for both these two teams, last week was pretty quick, right? I mean, they both bundled their way through their side of things. But for a Mythic, yeah, I'm curious because they are going up against one of the consensus favorites to go through and win the whole entire thing. So I think this is going to be a really important game for them to see how they're going to be able to match up against one of the best teams in the game. But I think for me, they are not quite in the same position as Zit Lalix were in that previous one. I definitely feel like On Mythic can match to a certain degree here. So I'm interested to see what we're going to get from them this week, because last week they looked really, really good.
And now they have to face off, Bobby, against the NA Falloffs, who, you know, everyone obviously has been talking about.
Yeah, no question. Anybody who's watched competitive North American Call of Duty Mobile will recognize pretty much every single one of these players, with the exception of Shane, who's definitely an up-and-coming player. He was in the starting lineup for them last week, definitely held his own, and did not seem to show any signs of slowing down. Obviously, Vague announcing his retirement earlier this year. Returning, but not really returning, as he would have had to switch back to playing on phone. For the most part, that starting roster of Shane, Jez, Washi, Robalo, and Envy, not a bad starting roster by any stretch of the imagination.
I might need one of those Gengar beanies. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of love that. I'm gonna have to ask Shane where that's from, but no.
I don't know if you pull it off as well, Lauren, but okay.
I'm gonna remember you said that. As we get to take a look at our picks and bans here. Okay, starting off with a Slums Hardpoint on.
I'm all for it. You know me. I'm the #1 Slums fan on the planet. We'd love to see that. Tunisia coming in and search and destroy is always a nice one as well. A crossfire control. We're seeing teams starting to bring it in a little bit more as opposed to the start of the season, or at least through open finals. Yeah, we got a little bit of a variation here, actually, Bobby.
Yeah, I like the look of this. We've seen way more crossfire control of the competitive COD Mobile I've watched in the past couple weeks than I really expected. That's one that a lot of teams have been opting to play. Pretty much nobody playing Takeoff. I think I've seen it maybe one time in the past couple of weeks. But crossfire, actually, interestingly enough, becoming one of the favorites for people to play, whether that's to try to catch other teams off guard, or maybe this is actually going to be one that could potentially be a mainstay.
I think this is going to be a really fun series. I'm excited to get straight back into the action, and I know our players are ready as well. So let's dive into match number 2.
We are just skipping through this one today, aren't we? We're just flying into it. I don't think I meant that well, Lauren, if she is still listening. That I'm sure the Gengar beanie would fit you just fantastically. Here we are, anyway, irrelevant of where we're going with that conversation. But I think this was the game that we both looked at, Bobby, and sort of said that, yeah, okay, this one is a harder one to call. I think for all that we give Zit Lalix an iota of a chance, where we're curious what we're going to see, this one is still a bit more of an even keel, you would say.
Yeah, no question about it. I was kind of questioning whether NA Falloffs were going to have what it takes to be consistent in the search and destroy, but I think especially their sniper presence was really strong last week. Washi just firing on all cylinders. Envy was a dominant force as well. So, you know, these guys are going to handle business when needed whenever it comes to the hard point. We saw them playing the hard point for their map 1 last week as well. So obviously feeling pretty comfortable on it. But we'll see what they've got right here as they head on into things. And on Mythic, getting aggressive toward that brick side off the start. It is going to be Shane picking up 2. And Jez picks up the final one on toward Broken Blue side. They are cleaning things up right now, and none of those kills go in the way of On Mythic.
I mean, I think the thing is, though, is that when we went into the Undream Zit Lalix game, I was sort of thinking to myself, okay, this is not too bad of an opening start from Zit Lalix. Is it going to keep things close? And they got 3-0'd. On Mythic, well, I mean, one player has a kill. Until that, Indra will eventually find something going, at least for the side of on Mythic. But right now, NA Falloffs, with all of the time they could possibly want, and in 20 seconds, they are in a very, very good spot for P2. Some scrap time potentially going over towards the on Mythic side, but been a hell of a start for the side of NA Falloffs. Pildora eventually getting something going. There's 3. Make it 4 to his name. Make it 5, by the way. Pildora, what is he toggled? My goodness. What a way to start, and then what a way to turn things around. Indra will get the spawns on Mythic. Oh, he had to play.
Maybe he's running the tectonic strat where he just doesn't believe in warming up, and took him a couple gunfights, but he finally locked in. Went from 0 to 7 in the blink of an eye, and on Mythic have now got control of those spawns over toward P2. This is one hard point where, yeah, you want to have the close side spawns, but there are situations where it can backfire and it can turn into a bit of a reverse spawn trap. So we'll see what NA Falloffs can make of this right here. Does look like the final person broke through in the backside. They are going to be able to lock in P2 control right here. Dakota trying to push on through that smoke, but the pre-fire connects for NA Falloffs. They retake the lead. Across the board, relative consistency. One thing to note, Band now in the rotation for Envy right here, so we'll see what he's going to be able to do. Have not seen him compete a ton as of recently, but obviously one of the mainstays in competitive North American Call of Duty Mobile, not having any issue picking it back up.
Yeah, NA Falloffs managing to find a break back through. Very rotational heavy when it does come down to slums. Opposite sides of the map for the most part, apart from 3 to 4. There's that 2 to 3 transition that can make a bit of a difference. NA Falloffs managing to find a way through. Indra can just about hold this down. Death Machine in hand does make that a little easier. We did see a little bit of an over-investment from on Mythic. Actually, I want to say it was Badu brought in the War Machine towards the backside. Didn't find anything with it. Was she trying to do something here with the Annihilator towards the backside, though? Pildora can find one, though. Does shut him down. So far, so good for our Mythic. Holding it down here over towards P3.
Pretty much zero value out of that Annihilator. That's going to be a Pred and a Sparrow dropping at the same time. Looks like the Pred's not going to hit, and Jez able to find 2 right here, so pressure on the point. Indra, the main OBJ for this squad, locking it down, but finally taken down by the War Machine in the hands of Raballo. Pretty solid value for them right there. It looks like they're going to be able to get things tied back up. Jez finds one looking to hop over. Once again, on Mythic looking like the quicker team on the rotation right here. They've got all 5 players set up and ready to go, and the feed goes completely yellow. Pildora's going to pop equalizers right here, and that is a scary sight for the NA Falloffs.
I mean, after that opening salvo between these two teams in this game, this is not what you expected on Mythic with a lead. They must have just come in super flat because, well, since the first hill, they've been brilliant. More dominant side by some distance. Badu already bringing out his second War Machine of the entire rotation. And this kill feed is just locked one-sided. Badu with 18 kills to his name. And you're just locking it down. Fantastic work from him on Mythic. Okay, it's only a 20-second lead, and that could, well, be, slaughtered immediately. Here it is now. And NA Falloffs trying to turn this one around. But again, investment coming in and not necessarily paying off unless your team can hold this down. 20 seconds to go here. NA Falloffs trying to tie things up. They can just about, well, yep, tie things up heading into a second rotation if they hold down the rest of this time.
Yeah, Raballo, big break right there. He's going to lock in the hardpoint time. No trade to be found, though. Huge play from Badu to lock in the rest of that scrap time. And NA Falloffs really need to lock down some of this map control and give themselves a better chance on those objective holds. Seems a little bit loose in the way that they're playing right now, and it's definitely showing on the scoreboard. They got 2 operators charged and ready to go. Pildora holding the line toward Brick's side, and he's going to shut down another for his 4th straight kill. Indra popping the Death Machine right here. Definitely not a conventional place to pop it, but lots of places to info check. He's going to be 1 HP and no value found, so taking that utility off the table. For NA Falloffs, you still got to find a way to break the point. They're finally able to do that, but 30 seconds into the clock on Mythic have completely rebuilt that lead.
I mean, it's just, I'm so caught off guard. Honestly, NA Falloffs coming to this the way they did. and then since then have been beaten from pillar to post. Shane trying to get something going here for his team. NA Falloffs will start to find a few kills, and only one player over towards this backside. That's going to be Indra, who can potentially hold this down for his squad as the rotation over towards P2 pops in a few seconds time. Everybody else from NA Falloffs, though, worrying about the other players coming in from behind. A mid-map spawn coming through from Shane. He'll be able to get himself in there. A little bit of a pinch potentially set up now. NA Falloffs should be able to find a breakthrough here, and they do. Some potential really good time over towards P2. That is starting to become a little bit needed from NA Falloffs. They can't let Mythic get much of this time.
Yeah, no question. Washi's going to find good value, at least initially, off that Annihilator. Does get shut down. Shane's got a Tempest as well, and if he can get one shot onto somebody coming down those stairs, that's going to stop anybody that follows. So they're going to find that clearance, and once again, in a position where if they get a full 60, they could tie things back up. Heavy investment in the operators, but not a lot of value on the War Machine for Raballo. Still able to hold the line, but would have liked to be able to build some score streaks off of that. Regardless, it looks like they are going to be able to lock down the rest of that time, and they willingly flip those spawns. So now on Mythic, spawning in the back, that sets up perfectly for the rotation, and now banned on a Pred.
Yeah, sensational work. Keep them back there as well. A really, really nice hold from the side of NA Falloffs, and that rotation when they needed it is just wonderful as well. Pildora will find two through the front door, though. We do find one from the back as well. Back spawns should still be there for the side of NA Falloffs, and they are. Pildora trying to push through the front here. Next wave of kills are massively important. The majority going over towards NA Falloffs. It's only Dakota who can answer back with anything from on Mythic. Nice hold from Falloffs where they were needed to find a Pildora. I don't know if he spawned back here, if he somehow managed to get through. Doesn't matter either way. Will be dealt with. A little bit of pressure coming in towards the backside. Jess can find one. There with the operator out. Equalizers just causing so much havoc, and this is much better. NA Falloffs feels like about 80 to 90 back-to-back points right now.
They're certainly a streaky team. When they're feeling it, they're tough to stop, but when they're not completely locked in, they leave a lot of opportunities for the opposition. And now Jez working on some streaks himself. He's got a Pred opportunity to find that additional clearance and make their way up to the 200-point mark. They've already won this rotation too. Some big gunfights right here. They go the way of NA Falloffs, so they have completely made their way back into this one. And on Mythic, scrambling for any amount of map control, any amount of momentum. Salam's going to be able to find a big one right there to shut down the Tempest. They find a big feed right here. Salam's going to be able to find one more, and oh my gosh, the operators raining down on Mythic with two in play. Badu's going to be able to find two with the War Machine. Death Machine goes big for Indra as well, but he gets traded out. Regardless, on Mythic, hold the line.
Yeah, on Mythic just about getting a hold of something. Pildora, though, I want to say that's twice the equalizers come in quite recently and found absolutely nothing with them. But saying that, on Mythic have managed to find a breakthrough. They have managed to find a little bit of a hold here, but this is going to be bad news. Oh, is it? Band can find absolutely nothing. Well, she's the only one who can really answer. NA Falloffs here with a little bit of presence. 15 seconds to go. Over towards P4. It's been absolute bloodbath inside of Garage. Sensational work from the side of on Mythic to, well, keep that from going from bad to worse. It was a wonderful P2 to P3, and typically P4 is the cherry on top, but NA Falloffs couldn't quite secure what they wanted to there. On Mythic, keep it within touching distance, but it's a much better rotation of hills from the side of NA Falloffs now, and it's a fight for towards P1. Pildora and Dakota can start to find a couple of kills, and now Band can't quite hit his shots. All of a sudden, the Annihilator is out finding absolutely nothing on Mythic. Last time around at P1, found some good time, and they can find some more here.
And once again, when things start to go bad for NA Falloffs, they have struggled to stop the bleeding. Band, big gunfight win right there, but only able to find one, so the hardpoint remains contested. And more than likely, this is going to come down to a P2, if not a P3. It looks like NA Falloffs finally going to be able to find the kills right there, and they will be able to pick up some scrap. There's still 20 seconds to be gained. On Mythic, absolutely need to at least keep things contested right here. And it looks like they will find the break. Dakota already looking to set up for those spawns, but he's got a big gunfight that he is not going to win. Raballo goes big for NA Falloffs, and if he can keep this locked down, it could be crucial. But Indra hunts him down. Jez finds one kill and the scrap, but the spawns are gone the way of on Mythic. And this could be devastating for NA Falloffs. We're definitely going to need to see some operators come out to try to flip those spawns.
You can see them already coming out from the side of Mythic as well, but Reballo, it's like fish in a barrel. If you can start connecting with some of these war machines, it could be a disaster, but back and forth we go. Badu can find 2. Shane's there towards the backside as well, can find one of his own. Is that going to be the spawns there for now for the side of NA Falloffs? Jez equalizes in hand, finds absolutely nothing on Mythic, just about trying to hold this down, but Reballo can find 2. Dakota finds 1. It's a bloodbath towards the backside. NA Falloffs are the closest spawns though. Oh, and Shane can start lining up with the Tempest as well. It's the 3rd or 4th there for him too. NA Falloffs in control here, Bobby. It was an absolute massacre towards this backside, but they're the ones that had the potential to win it here.
Shane was off to a slow start, but he has blown this one wide open. 40 kills to his name, but Salam, the Sparrow, breaks from the weak side right here, and that has guaranteed that we will go to a P3 right here. They're not going to be able to flip out spawns. They will, but only for one player right there. Big presence over toward P3 for on Mythic. They got to win these opening gunfights.
Spawns towards the back for the side of NA Falloffs. So you're not going to be expecting that if you're on Mythic. Pildora, Slamda can all combine well. Ban can only find 1 with the Purifier, but the spawns towards the back come in for NA Falloffs. If you're on Mythic, you're asking where they come from. The answer is yes, because it's in every single direction. Pildora, though, with the equalizers out. You still need 20 seconds if you're on Mythic, and you do manage to find some semblance of control, and that is a kill feed you like to see as well. NA Falloffs, you got one more opportunity, one more break. You need to go fast.
I don't think they're going to be able to find it. Nobody's spawning close. Only one player there. It's going to be Jez, but he gets the contest. Band hops on. He's able to get contest as well. He's got to win the gunfights. Reinforcements are there. Reballo, he's the last man standing, and on Mythic pull off the upset in the opening game.
I mean, it was such a back and forth one, and I think it's just that contest towards the end over towards P2 that makes the big difference for on Mythic to even allow them at that stage to push over towards P3, but they've got the spawns for it. They get that contest, and it's a hell of a slums to kick things off here in this series. That was a banger to kick things off, Bobby. I mean, that P3 was absolute chaos towards the end.
Yeah, no question. And it was so back and forth and unpredictable as to who the winner was going to be. They both went on massive runs of 60, 70, 80 points and just constantly trading those hard point spawns, big plays out of both squads. But on Mythic, the resilience for them to be able to get those last couple of seconds of contest on P2, and they're able to close things out. Looking at the scoreboard, Badu goes for 50 and 37 for him. On the opposite side, honestly, NA Falloffs maybe a little more negative than I would have expected out of them, and maybe not quite as much chemistry on reinforcing that hard point either, as you had 3 players under a minute in the hard point, despite the fact that it was only a 4-point game and you did not have a single player on Mythic with less than a minute of hard point time.
Incredible map number 1 to kick things off here between on Mythic and NA Falloffs. Incredible series potentially on the cards here, Bobby. Map number 2 going to be coming up, and that's a 4-point game in the hard point to start this series off. We've got Tunisia coming up next, and a crossfire coming up for map number 3. If we need to see it, we'll see Arsenal and Kurahana to close things out. I'd imagine we may well have to see all these maps here, because that is if that's as close as we're going to be in the hard point, is that going to be the case in the search as well, Bobby? I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not really sure what to expect out of the search. Obviously, on Mythic looks strong. I just don't know if it's strong relative to this level of competition. Yeah. I think a lot of it is going to be on Washi and the way that he performs. The snipers obviously always play a huge role in the Tunisia search. When his shots are hitting, then they look absolutely phenomenal. But if those aren't going, I think they're going to have a really tough time pulling out the win in this one. And especially with on Mythic heading into this with the momentum, I think that it's going to do them some favors. I believe, if I remember correctly, this was NA Falloffs map pick, so should give them a tiny bit of an edge heading into this one. But we'll have to see what they've got up their sleeves. Salam had the wallbang lined up, not able to connect though. He's going to be forced back as NA Falloffs get aggressive off the start of this one.
You want to put the demons at rest after that previous round, or previous map, I should say. Puts him in a good position here now, and a 4 versus 2. Barlow was able to find something to do in a good spot to do something, can find one. How is he uncontestedly just doing this? Well, he isn't. Jez is going to find him. That's the first attacking round over towards the side of NA Falloffs.
All right. Good opening round right there. Washi didn't even have to do anything. Jez was locking things down with the shotgun in hand, and bodes well for NA Falloffs to get things started here. This time a very, very different look is they're going to send all the utility over toward A, and if I had to guess, on Mythic going to be prepared for a push, but everybody wraps back towards spawn. One of those nades is going to connect. It is going to be Shane getting first blooded right there, so that slows the push. I think Jez got eyes onto Indra, although I think the reverse is true as well. So now he's a little bit second-guessing this push through mid and makes his way forward. Definitely a risky one. We'll see what the payoff play is going to be right here, and he's only able to get a hit marker. He's going to be forced to dip out back towards spawn.
Trying to find something. If you're NA Falloffs, I don't think on Mythic we're going to suffer themselves as fools. There's a push from NA Falloffs there over towards B. That's not going to happen this time. Not going to fall into that trap. Washi and Raballo checking corners, making sure they know what's going on, but A looks the more likely. Jez ready to move here with the R9, but not necessarily in the best of positions with it. Yeah, going to try and push forward. Pildora isn't able to find the kill, and Raballo can punish him with that. And is able to find one as well. All of a sudden, things starting to open up here for the side of NA Falloffs. 2 versus 3 in NA Falloffs' favor. And that bomb is going down as well. Difficult retake here for on Mythic.
Yep. I think Indra may have gotten spotted off that opening doorway. Washi from above's going to get beamed. And right next to him, but doesn't want to risk the play. It's going to be on Raballo, but he takes one as well. What? He takes a third. Indra cleans the site, and on Mythic bounced back to take the second round.
What on earth is that from Indra?
Nice work. Get ready for the next round.
The first one, uncontested. The fact that he's able to find it and no trades immediately come through. I think that's the question mark. I'm also going to be question marking how the hell he found the third.
Bomb acquired.
Leads over towards the B side. And they fall off, so be wondering how they're not 2-0 up right now.
Salam's looking for something. No angles to work with. Jez making his way up through the mid-map once again, but on Mythic doing a great job of staying home, not overextending right here, and really letting Salam lock down this B side. Very nearly had an angle to work with, but not going to connect, and that's going to be Washi taking down Badu. Right now, Indra, the man to find, but Jez is actually able to make his way all the way through the mid-map completely uncontested. Shane finds one as well, and that should be all but a guaranteed round right here for NA Falloffs. Ban not able to find the kill, but Raballo is. Now Pildora left all alone in the 1v5. That is a flawless round for NA Falloffs to bounce back.
It's kind of one you want. NA Falloffs will still be questioning how they're not 3-0 up here. They're having a very good attacking side though. And I think that is going to worry on Mythic. Pildora has been, well, he was influential in the first map. Hasn't really got things going here whatsoever in the search. Big push over towards AA is going to be on the defensive side. You so often see that, but a mid-map push, yeah, is going to catch Pildora out. Band will find it, will back on down. And a plethora of options now for NA Falloffs to ponder over which way do we want to go with our man advantage. Oh, it's nearly no man advantage. Shane, slither of health, he gets away with it.
They're going to hit the wrap back toward the A side right here. I would assume Washi going to take first point of contact. Is a risky move out of Raballo, but he's actually going to push up anyway. So they get this cross covered. Trophies go down. But Badu's going to get info off that spray through the wall. More kills come through. Indra finds one. Badu with another. Just like that, the push has fallen apart for NA Falloffs, and that leaves Shane all alone. 1v3 for him. They get absolutely ripped to shreds as they don't really opt to let the sniper find those opening picks, and end up paying for it. Shane going to be able to pick up the bomb right here, but only 41 seconds to work with. They've still got this A site completely locked down. Definitely needs to hit a B wrap right here, but he does not have a lot of time, and he's moving slow.
Adu had a very big gun. And unfortunately, for the side of NA Falloffs, they all run into his aim there. Shane now spotted out. Bad position to be in. They're just going to shoulder him. They're just going to check it. Adu, though, can be dealt with. Shane can't find the second. Indra is there for the trades. 2-2. Very close search and destroy. Map number 1, if you missed it. A 4-point game. Now, all of a sudden, we're all tied up in the search and destroy. We could be here for a while with these two teams, Bobby.
Absolutely. They're really committed to this A push, trying to make it work. We'll see what they find up at the top side, but Badu's there, and I think he's got a shotgun in hand. Rabal doesn't expect it, but able to find the kill anyway. It's the first blood. Crucial for opening up this A site. One player actually making their way through mid for on Mythic right here. That's going to be Indra. And if he didn't get spotted out, that could be crucial. Pildora's going to find one on Dawashi as well. And Indra just waiting for Jez to make a move. He's going to be able to reposition and get away with his life as well.
On Mythic, starting to turn the screw here on the defensive side. And they fall off with a number disadvantage. Choosing just to play their cards here. And is either going to catch him. We got caught out. Yeah, Indra was ready for it. 7 already. We're only into round number 5. It's an impressive feat. And keep this up on Mythic are going to be hard to stop here. 4 versus 2 in their favor. Both bomb sites covered. And then NA Falloffs. I'm going to try and make a decision to do something that is not going to be favorable.
Rabal just takes too big of a risk right there. He ends up paying for it. Shane's able to find one. But with still 3 people to deal with and the bomb down in the worst position possible. I don't see any feasible way that he makes his way out of this one. He's going to try to find that engagement. And to be honest, on Mythic don't even need to challenge that, but he's going to go ahead and reposition here anyway. They should have the read, although he takes down Dakota. And the snipes are not connecting for on Mythic. They continue to chow. All you really have to do here is let the clock run out, and they continue to chow, but that's an SMG cross map. Smoke and the AR on Mythic are going to be able to take the round regardless.
Yeah, time just not there for the side of Shane. Irrelevant of the valiant effort.
And the objective. They have the
On Mythic, who have turned this one around quite quickly. NA Falloffs after 3 rounds, wondering how they went 3-0 up. And all of a sudden they're 3-2 down. Such as Tunisia search and destroy. It's a cruel mistress at times, but this moment in time on Mythic, taking the advantages they can. Indra has found his 9th of this game so far. Good shots coming in from Slime as well, and then all of a sudden Shane's dealt with. Washi can eventually get something going here. Only his 2nd kill of this entire search and destroy. He's left on his own. He needs 4 more. Pildora, fantastic shots on Mythic. Commanding position now.
We'll go ahead and flip sides right here. I would imagine NA Falloffs very glad to be on the defensive side because the offense was not kind. We said that a big factor for them was going to be Washi, and he's only got 2 kills. The snipes have not been connecting so far in this one, and especially with some of the shots that we've seen Pildora hit, they've got to have some type of a counter. He's not going to be able to connect off those opening wall bangs all alone. No, got 1 player on the lower ground here on the B site. Yet to find any first blood, and Jez going to look to get aggressive right here as the hit marker connects from the nade. That gives them the info. It's going to force back the on Mythic push.
Scary proposition with Jez in this position, isn't it? You don't want to force your way forward here. On Mythic gonna have to use some utility to get rid of him, or just try and bait something out. He's got some cover as well with Washi. Horrible spot for on Mythic if they do want to continue to make a push over towards B.
Jez saw the trophy fly over the wall right there, so he knows they're still looking to make this push. He can continue to play the waiting game for the audio cue, but Pildora is ready for the peak and makes him pay. Washi peeks that right side, but still the shot's not connecting. And unfortunately for him, it is going to be a hit marker. So now they're forced off that bomb site. Badu's going to find another. Raballo left all alone. It's going to be a 1v4 if he can make it happen. The bomb is going to go down right here, and he's going to look to reposition. He actually wraps back toward lower mid right here, and looks like one person's still going to stay, so should be able to get the audio cue. That's Badu. Raballo's got to win this 1v3, and the shotgun says not today.
For the next round.
On Mythic, here we go. I think as well, I want to give them so much credit because we stayed on Jess's POV and knew the position he was in, but on Mythic was so patient.
They have the bomb.
Really nice job there on the attacking side. They only need 2 more rounds, and NA Falloffs need a total of 5. A minimum of 4 to send us to overtime. Not the place you want to be in. Slow and steady here for on Mythic again. Good shots once again. And Bander's dealt with. The gunny is very much there for the side of on Mythic right now. In an advantageous position once again.
I mean, if you're NA Falloffs and you were banking on the defense helping you out, that last round definitely was not a good sign, and losing that first blood makes things even worse. Jazz, once again, makes his way really far forward right here. It's just a question of if on Mythic are going to over-aggress, but they have done a phenomenal job of staying at home in their positions and really letting the game come to them. We saw that on the pick that I believe Pildora was able to find. Washi finally going to find one right there. Only his 3rd kill of the game. But definitely a good time to find it. That equalizes things. We'll see if he's able to find anything else over here on B.
Yeah, you said this is really going to depend on what Washi can do. In this search and destroy for the side of NA Falloffs, and it just hasn't necessarily got going, though. Jez can find one in a second as well. Incredible from there to find Badu, but he does anyway. 4 versus 2 now in favor of NA Falloffs. It's a round they really do need, and is looking likely to head their way.
Ooh, big shots out of Shane right there. That's another kill for Jez. NA Falloffs able to clean up here on the defense. If there's a time to build some momentum, it would absolutely be right now. We're down 3. Gonna look to string some rounds together right here. Is last thing you want to do is face down an 0-2 wall against an on-mythic squad that is looked very strong across the board. Band gonna sit back, wait for point of contact. Nobody here. A lot of mid-map presence for on Mythic, though, as Badu makes his way forward. Don't think that nade's gonna connect, but potentially some information.
What's the decision here for on Mythic? Lost another first blood. Pildora will answer back. Where did that nade even hit? I can't see the X on the map. Irrelevant of that. Oh, it's through mid-map. So they were ready for something happening over towards that side. A lot of investment here from NA Falloffs over towards this A point. And a lot of investment of time from on Mythic for pretty much nothing.
I mean, NA Falloffs have they have the information off that initial nade going out. Going to pick up another right there. Just like that, they're up 2 men. So we said they need to go big on the defense. They've definitely got the advantage in this one. See if they can execute to close this out. Pildora should have audio off the slide right there. Rapala going to slide and take the kill anyway. No trades to be found. Andrew wraps the corner and Shade instantly greets him. NA Falloffs take back-to-back rounds, and now only 1 round down here in the search and destroy.
Time to bring this one back.
They have the bomb.
Much needed rounds. Point NA Falloffs away. The last 2. Extremely important. On Mythic now through the middle of the map. Trying to get something going here. Trying to bring in a little bit more aggression because the slow and passive approach has not been working. Indra will get things up and running again. 12 kills, but Shane just lines up 3. I mean, this guy's just new onto the roster, and you were seeing he's been filling the boots. And then some, by the looks of things. Shane just shuts this round down completely turns on its head, and Indra should be dead to right. Hold on, Indra can find 2 now. This will be a 1 versus 4 if he can pull it off. Now left in a 1 versus 2.
Shane was in what looked to be a pretty simple scenario, but not able to close out the kill, and 2 players gonna go, or at least look to link up right here. NA Falloffs holding this cross, waiting for the first shell, and there's the shot. Washi snipe connects. Once again, it hasn't been super consistent so far in this one, but definitely well timed as NA Falloffs take 3 straight rounds right here. The defense starting to get a little bit more locked in, and an opportunity for them to take the lead in this one, despite how shaky it has looked so far on Mythic. It's in 1 player toward B, and I don't think they realize they've left the bomb in spawn, unless that is a strategy that I'm not aware of.
Maybe try and find a pick, and then they can make a decision. Because right now things are starting to fall apart. Looks like we are potentially destined for overtime here. And a little off angle. Just going to cause absolute havoc if they do push through Winery. On Mythic, maybe waiting for a mistake to come out from NA Falloffs here. But they haven't been a team to get overly aggressive. They've sat and waited.
And looking for that first point of contact. Indra doesn't want to get too aggressive, but they don't have a whole lot of options right now. Still got 1 player lurking over on the B side. That's going to be Badu, but only working with shotgun angles right now. So it's really pressure on to either invest some utility or get aggressive. And oh my gosh, Band had the angle, but shots just don't connect right there. So now they get info on at least the positioning that they've got here on the A side. It's just a question of, are they going to have the execution to be able to break through?
I was about to say, it feels like on Mythic have run out of ideas. Shane's been dealt with on. It's just a wonderful, wonderful push under the site. 1 player left here, and Jez, he will be dealt with. Washi can find 1, but now left in a 1 versus 4.
They left the bomb!
Wait, they forgot the bomb. They forgot the bomb. They forgot the bomb.
Bomb acquired.
There's no way. They've got to find them. They've got to find them. They've got to find Washi, and they do. That is nearly a disaster for on Mythic. But they just about get away with it.
Oh my god, I forgot that they left it in spawn.
I forgot they forgot.
And they forgot that they left it in spawn. Thank God that NA Falloffs didn't have any clue what was happening right there. Because Washi felt like he needed to play close to the site to try to take down the planter, but little did he know there was no planter in that round.
My word. That could have been embarrassing. Now on Mythic, is it going to be same old story here again? That push was really good. It really started with Shane getting picked through the middle of the map so they could kind of just jump into the site freely and check the usual spots. And in a, well, similar position to what he was in the previous round, if not the exact same position. So you're going to be ready for that if you're on Mythic. Massive round for both these 2 teams here. Do you force that overtime, or do you get yourself a 2-0 lead? There's 1 player waiting on the flank, and that's actually going to be Badu. He gets taken down. Washi has been quiet this game, but he will find first blood in a crucial, crucial round.
Once again, slows that offensive push. This time around, they do have bomb in hand. It's going to be Indra right now, just backing up that sniper and Salam top winery, man. Continues to hold that position, and you would think by now they'd figured it out, but they continue to try to push out. Pildora got to make something out of nothing right here. He's going to be able to find 2, but he's left in a 1v3, and it would effectively be a 1v5 if he's able to close it out. But the bomb's down top winery, and there's 3 people remaining. He has absolutely got to go. I don't know there's enough time. Sees Jez on the entry right there, and that should be enough information for Falloffs. But oh my god, he almost does the impossible regardless. NA Falloffs force overtime.
I was almost wondering why we didn't just try an entry like that, Pildora, when the rest of your team was still alive, but you know. Beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Here we are, overtime. On Mythic on the defensive. They held at the beginning of their defense very, very well, but just felt as if things started to slip away a little. Indra now, trying to hold down the middle of the map. He is actually slowed down at 14 kills. Looking to try and make it 15 and then some. NA Falloffs taking their time here, being very passive, Bobby.
Looks like the sniper is going to connect right there, but I think an additional wall slowed things down. Band's going to be able to find entry here on the B site. And shots across the map connect for Shane, but not enough for the kill. Fortunately, Washi's going to be there to clean things up. Very, very tiny sliver of sight. Is on Mythic going to be able to find one from the MG42, but nothing more. Bomb goes down right there. Salam get a hit marker. That at least requires Reballo to stay tucked away in the top side. Another hit marker onto Washi. And at that point, it's just unlucky because the odds are so much higher of actually getting a kill. Pildora's going to find one regardless. Trades back and forth, but all onto Salam. Jez weak, tucked away into that corner, but Washi's there for the trade. And NA Falloffs get a much-needed offensive round right there. And now they look to flip back to the defense where they've looked so strong so far.
Defend the objective.
An offensive round in overtime as well. No Mythic for them. You know, the attack was the struggle. They did just seem to have no ideas. Those slow and steady rounds never seem to go in their favor. They need to find a pick somehow, some way. Because once they got first blood, things were rolling very, very nicely, but that has been the problem. Slow and steady has not been winning the race for on Mythic in these attacking rounds.
Yep. They continue to sit back, play for that information, but this time it's NA Falloffs staying at home, not overextending. Only one player on that B side of the map. That's going to be Badu. He's just hoping to find somebody crossing out of position, but he's going to pick up the trophy, and if I had to guess, that means a wrap back toward A or potentially a play through mid. Nobody really watching that mid side outside of Reballo, who's tucked pretty far back into this spot. And the longer that clock ticks, the tougher it's going to be for on Mythic to execute on this opening.
Yeah, very quickly, running out of time. And may catch one through the middle of the map here. Timing just hasn't worked in his favor. Everybody on the other side. Reballo can find one. Dakota is able to answer back 4 versus 4. Badu will find another. And this quick push eventually is going to be trades in the favor of on Mythic now. Washi can answer back. Badu answers back himself. They know where Washi is. Washi left in a 1 versus 2. On Mythic clutch up in the attack. When they find a way into the site, when they find those moments, they can do something. It just feels as if they're waiting too long for those moments to actually come their way.
It works. It's just really, really stressful. Well, it works whenever they've got the bomb in hand. Washi, who started off really slow, has absolutely played a factor in NA Falloffs getting back into this one. He's now at 11-8 after a very slow start. And on the flip side, it's been the Pildora and Indra show. They're combined for 30 kills so far. Band getting pretty far forward on that mid push. It looks like somebody for NA Falloffs thought about throwing a shoulder. They at least get the information, but Salam's not going to be able to connect. Once again, it's Band and Washi getting really far forward, but Indra has a complete read on this.
It's the advantage to still have this defense first time around. Yeah, Band gonna get cut down here. Yeah, Shane is just bait for Reballo. Oh, this is 4 now. Bomb site semi in control, but trades kind of going across the board. Dakota will find one. Kadu will find in the second as Washi is cut down. Pildora will find another. Trades just about in the favor of on Mythic. That bomb is now went down though as Jez will make it a 2 versus 2.
Pildora top side looking for something. Jez has no idea.
Know where he is.
Pildora hops down. He finds another right there. Body shots as well in the midst of overtime. on Mythic feeling confident, it would seem. They take the defensive round right here, but you got to flip over to offense where you have not looked super consistent. That being said, we saw them executing, even if it was incredibly late in the round. We'll see if we see a similar approach heading into this one. Is on Mythic now an opportunity to go up 2-0 in the series.
They have the bomb.
And a big one at that. I'm curious if they wait, if they be passive with these S&D rounds, because kind of being a... Oh, that's a big grenade that went through, didn't actually land. It was looking like Dakota was about to catch that one in the teeth. Utility used somewhat passively here from on Mythic, nothing too deep. Making a lot of... I want to say they're making a lot of noise over towards B, but not really and truly threatening. NA Falloffs happy to hold this setup once again. You can see it's a little bit more passive on this A site. We have seen Band in a couple of awkward positions. Eldora is trying to check.
Once again, when you've only got one sniper on this map, it kind of limits you because you effectively need one over on that B side. Washi's got to stay home there. Ideally, you would like to find somebody to be that first point of contact with that winery entry, but they don't really have anybody to work with, so they're going to get aggressive once again. Salam gets shut down. Jez, shotgun in hand, finds one, finds two. Banned with another off the trade right there, and Badu's the last man standing. It's the body shot seemingly ill-timed for on Mythic. Odds of them closing this one out not looking great, although he does find the pick onto Shane right here. It's the wrap back towards spawn. Bomb's still got to be retrieved, and it looks like NA Falloffs just going to set up for a nasty cross right here. They're completely stacked together. One player wrapped toward top winery. They can afford to just play off that information of the bomb being picked up, and with only 12 seconds left, you would think the end of the round should be soon. Nothing right here. Only 5 seconds. And at that point, he doesn't even have time to plant. So NA Falloffs bounce back and tie things up as once again, we get more free Call of Duty Mobile.
Oh. I mean, this is such a tight game now. I think for on Mythic, it was just, I really like the setup actually from NA Falloffs, who are actually just going super quickly. On Mythic are not going to have a chance to set themselves up. They have survived this initial onslaught, but the first kill is going to be massive. Dakota, Eldora combining well. Dakota lining them up, and the round is done before it's even started. And on Mythic will go, oh, okay, we'll have another go at attack then, boys. Let's get this over and done with.
You roll your dice, you move your mice. Everybody on NA Falloffs got hurt. That fell apart so quickly. I don't anticipate that's an approach that we are going to see again from them. Once again on Mythic with an opportunity to close things out on the offensive side, but this time getting a little more aggressive toward B, and Shane's going to get shut down. Still one player in Washi left to be dealt with in the top side, but he's going to find one. Absolutely crucial, but the trades are there on Mythic. Now up 4-2, the bomb's going down, but Band able to take down the sniper.
Huge.
I don't know if they commit to the plant, but they do, and they stay alive in the low ground, so that much more difficulty. The 1v3 for him. It's not meant to be.
Not gonna happen on Mythic. 2-0 up in this series after the strangest 2 rounds of the overtime that we had over the entirety of it. It was a 10-8 scoreline in the end in the search and destroy. For them to take that one away. A tight game. It always kind of felt like on Mythic with the team that were in control throughout the regular time. But after that, it was very, very tight and overtight. A couple of clutch moments from Mythic to get them to that final stage, and then the final 2 rounds are over in the blink of an eye. I literally feel like a minute and a half ago it was 8-8, and we've just ended 10-8 in a very, very quick fashion in the end for on Mythic. Exciting rounds fall their way, and an exciting opportunity now. You're 2-0 up to send yourself to challenge finals against one of the favorites for the entire thing in NA Falloffs. I mean, going to be a nice position to be in. Really good performance across the board from on Mythic, who has set and into map number 3 with a 2-0 lead.
Great resilience for them. The body shooting in the end did not backfire, although it looked a little bit dicey. And despite a slow game from Salam, 6 and 13, Piltora 20 bomb in the search. It's funny because before this we were talking about how the match I was watching this morning had multiple overtimes, and only fitting that we would get to see even more out of this matchup. Now we get ready to head into a Crossfire Control, which I already did not have a great feeling for on the side of NA Falloffs, especially as far as current preparation goes. I feel fairly confident that on Mythic are going to be much more well-versed in the newer maps. That Crossfire could potentially be an unexpected early dagger.
Yeah, it's a bit of a curveball. The way it does play, though, it is very, I want to say it's streak heavy. Like, you know, if a team can find a nice break either way, you can put the opposition in a really nasty spot. So let's see how it is going to go down when we head over towards Crossfire. But I'm kind of surprised this is where we're at. But like, we've had 2 close maps, but on Mythic just seem to have that extra spark, right? We've seen it towards the end of the map number 1. They were able to contest towards P2 to make sure they could go to P3, which they had spawns for. They closed it out. A really good job. Takes it going over towards overtime, but when you eventually get those 2 rounds that they did win to finish it off, they do it very, very quickly. It's hard to say. I think it's still been a very close series. It's gunfights here and there, and we could have actually seen Falloffs with a 2-0 lead, but now all of a sudden we're heading into a Crossfire. You're 2-0 down, so let's see how things are going to kind of play out here. I'm still not sure. Look, NA Falloffs could definitely bring this one back. We know they could. But with the way on Mythic are just finding that extra level when needed, it's feeling like a 3-0 right now.
Yeah, they've just struggled to close out games. Like, you look at the Hardpoint, 250 to 246, if I remember correctly. You go to overtime in the search and destroy. You have multiple opportunities where you close it out, and you're just not able to make it happen. So obviously it does definitely feel like preparation versus just raw talent, and preparation absolutely paying off in this one. We'll see if NA Falloffs are able to bounce back right here, but we knew coming into this one, this was a team that was largely just kind of a pickup team, playing together for fun. With that being said, given the amount of talent that you got on this roster, it would be disappointing to see them go down in 3-0 fashion.
It would be, but I think that is probably credit to how good on Mythic have been as well. You know, they've really found their moments. We've seen highlight players from pretty much everybody on this roster as well. Everyone is very much pulling their weight. We should be heading into map number 3 in just a second. As reminded, it is going to be a Crossfire, and here we go. Now, if you're NA Falloffs, well, have you fallen off? Have you not been practicing, or is this going to be it? Is this going to be the start of the comeback, or on Mythic going to get a 3-0 statement win against NA Falloffs, which is what it would be, especially heading into challenge finals. You would make yourself a very, very hot topic of conversation across the COD Mobile community, at least on that side of the pond anyway, Bobby. But let's see if they can get the job done. So far, not a great start. NA Falloffs with a really nice one, though. They can push out halfway up the map. Restrict on Mythic here on this attacking side for him, doing a great deal. From the defensive side, I should say.
Yeah, that's a strong opening break. I think it was 4-0 for NA Falloffs, and to get that much presence over on the A zone, they already get 2 ticks of progress, and it looks like the third's going to get locked in right here. So about as good of an opening as you can really expect on the offensive side, and you've done what you need to, at least as far as expectations go for Crossfire Control playing offense. Badu's not going to be able to find shots onto Raballo. He repeaks right there. Raballo gets the better of him. So not only have they gotten A captured, they've got that life advantage, and they've already made their way onto B. Shane pulling out the Type 63, recently added into that weapon pool. And the shots may be a little shaky for Ben, but he's going to be able to reposition regardless and at least play a distraction while teammates look to reinforce on B.
I think it's for NA Falloffs. You just can't get wiped here. You get stuck in that spawn trap. It is a terrible, terrible place to be. They're winning gunfights. They continue to win gunfights. That's what makes it so difficult for the side of on Mythic, who have been down on lives for quite some time. Ravallo finding 2 is a slight dagger. Or she can find 1. They could do with getting rid of Band as well. Not going to happen. 7 versus 13 here. On Mythic have made very quick this round in the wrong way. NA Falloffs in a commanding position now.
We talked about the dominance of the HSO 405 and CDM. It's coming out right here for Dakota, and they're looking to close this life lead. He's going to be able to find 2 and makes his way in towards spawn, but does get read by on Mythic. So now 4v8. A minute left in this one. NA Falloffs still have to be very careful with this as they look to make their way forward. Pildora with sniper in hands, able to find one, gets away with a sliver of health. And that could be a game-changing play right here as he stays alive with that sniper in hand.
Is the guy they've lost is Indra. Pildora finds another. Getting to that stage. It's getting to that stage. 4 versus 5. Rapallo. Oh, yeah, he's pulled out the War Machine, but so is Badu. He finds 2. Salam can find another. And how have Mythic turned this round? 4 versus 3 in their favor now. War Machine is out. You're battering the boy. Washi can find another. Makes it a 3 versus 3, but the time is just not on NA Falloffs side. On Mythic, just need to sit tight.
And that War Machine gone to waste could not have been any worse on multiple fronts, because now heading into next round, you're at a disadvantage as well. On Mythic may miraculously pull out this round as there's only 7 seconds. They've got to go. They push forward, not going to be able to find the gunfight. Through 3v1, 3v0, Salam. The pred is earned. They take the round. But with that being said, if you're NA Falloffs, you're not too terribly stressed being able to take an offensive round that far down to the wire. Yeah, you don't want to lose that War Machine from Raballo, but they do a good job of at least getting one zone captured. And with how defensive side of this map is, maybe not the end of the world.
No, not necessarily. A really good hold by on Mythic in the end. As you mentioned, these attack rounds are not easy to come by. It's not the end of the world for NA Falloffs yet, but that would have been a really nice route back into this game. Dakota. HSO is out. Just patrolling around this area. It's such a difficult spot to try and get hands on anybody. Jez dealt with almost immediately. And is able to find his way up. Dude was getting rid of him pretty quickly. 55 seconds remaining. That's a few kills going their way. Band is going to just be sitting in an awkward spot. Going to release a little bit of tension from the team there. Dakota will be dealt with. So I'm now going to invest. Sparrow is out, causing a lot of damage with it as well. And A should be going alongside of it. Good start here for on Mythic. A locked down. And all of a sudden, NA Falloffs, you're going to start getting caught in this spawn trap if you're not careful.
Oh no, this could go sideways quickly, especially with the Salam with the Type 63 in hand, and there go the operators. The life lead has been blown wide open. Now 12 between the two, and they continue to farm. Salam's going to be able to find yet another, as well as a close round is now 18 versus 6. Dakota's pushes forward, finds another with the shotgun as well. We talked about how difficult it is to take him an offensive round. It's that much more difficult to do it in dominant fashion, but on Mythic would have to have a complete meltdown to lose this one. Dakota's going to stay alive. Not going to be able to find that kill onto Raballo, but players on that B zone regardless. They've already got 3 objective ticks locked in, and they're going to lock things in right there. They are 1 round away from the challenge finals.
In the blink of an eye, that one turned on its head. They got a 4 or 5 down. It was the Sparrow kills that came through over towards that A side, and they just smelled blown in the water. They run forward, and then all of a sudden, it was just a dangerous spot to be in if you're NA Falloffs. A lot of investment coming out from both these two teams to kick things off. Still from the side of Jez, there's equalizers out and rolling, and Dakota will be the one to end that one out firsthand. Trades across the board. Just trying to get aggressive here with the operators, doing the right thing, but do with a big kill to shut that one down. 24-21 in favor of on Mythic. And as far as the lives are concerned, defensively sided, as mentioned, with 2-0 up. This is cruise control right now for on Mythic.
Yep. There's such a nasty spot for Salam to lock things down with the Type 63 as well. Pildora. Quick scope from up in the top of the map, and the spawn trap ensues once again. Sparrow is there, should be able to find at least one, looking for more. Badu shuts down another, and on Mythic are in farming mode. Up, I mean, there's just 12 lives right here. Dakota's gonna find another 2.
I mean, it's just no way. Indra has been towards this back spawn for what seems like a lifetime.
Hostile hunter-killer drone
The 10 kills down now if you're side of NA Falloffs band. Washi can start to combine together though. It takes one good wipe to get something going in control. Good shot's going to come in there as well from Robalo. B push now going to start to initiate. This is doable for the side of NA Falloffs. They keep continuing to find kills here, Bobby. Working on two different fronts. There hasn't been an answer from On Mythic until that from Celeb. Can he find anything else? He cannot. 13 versus 8. It was 20 versus 10.
Huge to reel it back in,
no
but
way.
so difficult to close a gap like this. Wait, Shane could be the game changer right here. He's still got that Tempest in hand. Band's going to be able to find one. 9 fights, 6 as Robalo finds one as well, but Dakota's still yet to be dealt with. Shane shut down. Only 4 lives remain. NA Falloffs have to be perfect.
They have to be. Jez and Washi are the first to do their jobs. 6 versus 3 still in the favor of On Mythic, but they're still capturing over towards B. You kind of go if you're On Mythic right now. Band is the only one left. Has to pull off the 1 versus 4. He's left all on his own. There's not much he can do. On Mythic, 3-0 NA Falloffs. And that is a quick series and not one we expected. A dominant win in the end for NA Falloffs. It wasn't enough. And On Mythic will get the job done. Bobby, not the result we expected in that fashion, at least anyway.
No, I thought On Mythic would put up a good fight. I thought that they could take the win, but I did not think it was going to be a 3-0. They do a phenomenal job of closing out games. And once again, if I had to guess, that was probably their pick whenever it came to the control. They are able to really execute. And I think, I mean, absolutely the turning point. It would have been nice for NA Falloffs to be able to take that opening offensive round, but it's not the end of the world when you don't. But when you get the spawn trap flipped on your head and the round ends instantaneously, you can't do anything but give props to On Mythic for their execution right there. You get Salam 24 and 11. He was going absolutely ham in that one.
Incredible game from the side of On Mythic. A 3-0 in the control, Lauren. 3-0 in the series. Yeah, okay. I think On Mythic winning it wasn't out of the question, but doing it like that, I'm not sure.
I think On Mythic took the time between playdays, that week between playdays, very seriously. They made sure they had all of their ducks in a row and came ready to play. And that was not an easy series. I mean, 4 seconds in the Hardpoint, OT in the S&D. I mean, that was such a well-fought battle. For everybody at home that's rooting for NA Falloffs, remember, they're not out of the competition yet. It just means that they didn't get this qualification spot that was up for grabs here today that will go to On Mythic, but NA Falloffs will drop down into the lower side of the bracket, and they'll still be alive. They'll be able to come back next week and play for one of those last 2 spots, and they'll be facing off against ARP, Bobby.
Yeah, and I think if you're NA Falloffs, you can look at that matchup and at least feel more confident than this one, as ARP is definitely going to be a roster that they're much more familiar with. I don't know, especially with On Mythic being largely, I believe the majority of their roster is from Mexico, maybe not as much experience from NA Falloffs, but no question, they needed to be more prepared in this one, and perhaps this can be a wake-up call for them to lock in and get some reps in, especially knowing that a loss next week would just be infinitely more embarrassing, not only taking the L, but missing out on challenge finals with a roster this stacked.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And huge congratulations to On Mythic, who just absolutely slayed out. And for everyone at home, we'll be doing the same thing with Group A. We made it through Undream and Zit Lalix. It was Undream who got that first spot to challenge finals. Zit Lalix dropped down. They'll be facing off against Nexus next week. We'll do the same thing next week that we did here. We'll do Group A's lower bracket and then move on to Group B's lower bracket, and those will be the last 2 available spots for our challenge finals. Our top 8 teams in the region will have been whittled down to just 4 ton.
Yeah, in very quick succession, actually, as well. I'm really surprised that. I think, especially when you think of upper bracket matches of teams who have come through those games with wins, you would have expected them to definitely be a little bit more competitive. The first one, I suppose, we did expect that could happen. But for NA Falloffs, okay, yes, the maps were competitive, but you still lost 3-0. That nobody's going to go back and just be like, oh, well, remember, it was a 4-point Hardpoint and it did go to overtime. People are going to say you got 3-0'd, right? I think for NA Falloffs, it's definitely a result that they will look back on and be very disappointed with, but they will ultimately be looking towards next week in the lower bracket, where we have those other two teams joining us in for the challenge finals, Lauren, and it should be very, very exciting.
Yeah, on Mythic, definitely made sure to keep things interesting here this week. I am excited for those challenge finals. You guys will see that schedule for next week reflected there on the side of your screen. So we'll be kicking things off with Group A, and then we will be knocking out a team at the same time that we are qualifying a team through for both of these matchups. So it's going to be a very important final week of competition, to be sure. And then for everybody at home, just, they don't get a break after that. Our finals are the following week for this season. So you better make sure you're following us on social media, whether that's X, Insta, or Facebook, so you guys are completely up to date with everything we've got going on. If you're not able to catch one of these streams, or you can always join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series, because I think this is going to be a really, really good way to close out our challenge season, and then a very competitive challenge finals. And that's going to be all in the next 2 weeks. So I can't wait to see how it goes. But as far as today is concerned, we've qualified 2 teams through, and we've made it through all of our matches. This means week 3, day 3 of the challenge season here for North America has come to a close. A huge congratulations, of course, to Undream and on Mythic. So for some really, really strong performances and qualifying through to those challenge finals. We'll have to see who those last 2 teams are that can do it yet again next week. For all of us here, though, that's all we've got for today. So as always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL for helping us make this whole show possible. Thank you to all of you at home for hanging out this year and watching in the 3rd week of the challenge season. We'll see you next week.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.